If I tried to call, would you cry? Please don't cry, you're wasting your time. 16 lines to make me feel fine. 10 years ago, I went blind. I've been on my own since age 9.
But for every other teams that they will be facing in the groups, of course, we'll also have Vietnam joining in alongside with all these other teams, such as Burmese Gold in the other groups as well. And there's just a whole long list of all these teams. But between RRQ as well as EVOS, I felt like RRQ, of course, having a lot of that experience back in Indonesia, and this is one of those heavy favorites hailing from MPL Indonesia. And of course, we got to talk about MYSG's favorites right here on the first seed. They are EVOS Esports Singapore. Now, of course, not to be confused about who also were the ones from MPL Indonesia who recently got themselves crowned as the champions. And both of these teams finally broke the curse and got themselves that first seats. How cool is that?
Yeah, man, it's really impressive to have, you know, your own organization with champions in both different regions. But more importantly, how this affects this particular matchup, RRQ was one of the runner-ups dealing with EVOS Legends, and I think, I mean, same org. It's not a coincidence that they're going to be sharing information, and I think that might just tilt EVOS into the winning side in this particular matchup, because again, you have your resources from just across the ocean. Indonesia is going to be like, hey, we got some tips that might help you out, take out RRQ this time around.
That's right, but these are different tigers that we're talking about here. Of course, one with the red eye, one with blue, but of course, the logo looks pretty much the same, but we're talking about different players as compared to what they used to face back at home. So this means different sort of meta that they really have to adapt to for either sides. So this is about tackling some of all these challenges in between. And of course, there's going to be a lot of all these hot favorite picks that we saw back in all those MPL where picks like Grok was still really popular. Same goes to Chow, Kaja as well. So is there any sort of things that you do expect coming into Game 1?
Game 1, not so sure. I expect everything to kind of be kind of a limit tester, kind of like, you know, dipping your toes in pool water to see how cold it is.
Oh, yeah.
Before you actually, you know, plunge yourself into the deep end. And I think both teams kind of want to do that first because you're not too sure what to expect. You see them play, but you have to experience it.
Upon Valier as well, in that sort of sense where you talk about that rework. There's also many of these mages that are also up already, but of course, let's get ourselves into our very first draft of the M1 World Championship.
Yes, let's get our hands a little bit dirty here, and let's see how these teams kind of want to play it out, because you can tell a lot from teams, especially the group stages when they played best of 3 series, through their picks and bans. It kind of gives you an idea of where they want to direct their composition and how they kind of want to play the game.
That's right, and of course, starting off, there's so many possibilities that they could actually go for. They could actually ban off popular fighters like Xborg, or even take out pesky marksman coming in from the back as well, which will be the Kimmy. But then again, Kufra has always been that really solid front line or support that they could possibly bring into the table. The Tyrant's Rage and the bouncing ball, of course, causing heavy disruption. They don't want to deal with that at all from EVOS SG.
Yeah, what's great about the Kufra here is that it kind of opens up options, especially when it comes to counter picks. Like Kufra, yes, is absolute monster, great at setups, great engage, but it also kind of allows you to play things like, oh, I have Gushon on the table now. It kind of opens up the mage pool a little bit more.
That's pretty much true, but then again, we also see that Gushing has fallen off the radar for a little bit. But then again, we also know that the MPL Indonesia side really favors the Gushing. So maybe this will be that heavy contest between the two of them. Same goes to Chao, same goes to Kaya, as well as Ground. But maybe they might just want to let loose some of all these picks. So Kimmy is still up there, and let's see whether or not EVOS SG will be taken off the table, and instead they will ban off that high loss.
Looks like a high priority on a lot of these tanks here. I mean, high loss recently after the patches has been getting so good with the Revitalize as well. He's just becoming this unstoppable monster. And I think RQ, great response getting rid of the Grok as well. First pick going over to EVOS here. What are they going to go for?
Well, there's definitely a lot of choices for EVOS, and we've also seen them play a whole lot of all that Chao. So I do believe they might actually consider that, or they could even go for a Kimi right here if they want to.
True. I'm thinking more on the lines of Esmeralda, because again, there's not a lot of things that could stop it. Franco is still on the table. But it's really iffy here. It's really iffy when you have Kaja on the table. It's like, oh, the utility is just so good. Even if you pick Esmeralda, one Divine Judgment is enough to lock her down.
That's right. The Divine Judgment would be good enough for them to actually get that sort of a head start that they're looking for. And now it's RRQ's turn to make a move. Well, RRQ, of course, have a lot of all these options on the table, such as Marksman. I do think that Granger has been pretty much great in this recent patches, where they could definitely consider. But in this early phase of the game, should you give that sort of priority to even Marksman? I would always go for perhaps the solo laner. And now we're looking at Marsha as well as Akai being brought in for the very first game.
Pretty interesting, because like they could have flexed out the Cho. They're willing to give it. They're willing to say, hey, Cho's on the table. We can pass it to you guys, but it's not going to be that great for you because it's Masha against Cho. It's not as good as you want it to be. Masha does have a lot of options to deal with the Cho in comparison to some of the other fighters. Though it is not great, obviously. But again, it's like, do you really want to take Cho away from us? Do you really want to flex it? And we're allowing you to do the 50-50 because then we're just going to get better priority picks later on to the draft.
Oh, that's pretty true. And now that we're also seeing EVOS here, they could even get themselves that mage pick as well as fire before getting it banned away. Instead of taking that Chao, they could still ban it off in that sort of sense. And now we're seeing Granger as well as Thomas locked in for EVOS Esports. Now, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Now, a whole lot of high damage output coming from the side of EVOS SG. Same goes to some true damage output coming from Thomas as well. So, in terms of team fight, I would say that they do have that sort of security in the front line. And I'm not sure what will they actually bring in much later on. And this is going to force RRQ to pick up the Marksman before getting that secondary option.
Yeah, and the best part about Kimmy is that she can be flexed into those roles. She can play your mage role, or she can be put into your regular 80 carry sort of, depending on the build you want to go for. I think that's the big definition here. But coming into the second picks and bans, it's going to be important because each side is lacking a strong frontline tank. Akai, yes, he can tank. He's got a great passive, but more importantly, he's a playmaker. He's looking to make the plays. He's not looking to peel, and that's why you have to have a secondary tank on top of him to kind of be that frontline, being like, hey, stay away from my backline. I'm going to try and create space.
That's right, and I do believe that Akai is going to play a real vital role for RRQ, especially when it comes to team fights. That Hurricane Dance, if you can pin somebody right on the wall, that could be pretty much a free takedown for RRQ, and Lunox is going to be eliminated on that third ban of EVOS SG. Now, what do you feel about Lunox here? Because I feel like Lunox, of course, is not as strong as those previous patches where she could just easily run rampant and easily get out of those team fights. But now we're seeing two of these mage bans. So now for RRQ, they still have a lot of options on the table, and what will they go for?
I mean, Esmeralda is on the table here. Do they really want to go for it is a bigger question. Like, RRQ have an option because Kimmy is being flexed. You can see where it's like, okay, I could go for a really strong mage here that could get locked down. or I could just lock in my tank and kind of sit and wait on this. Because again, EVO's Esports, they can't double mage right here. If they double mage, they kind of just completely give up on their team composition at that point.
Oh, yes, indeed. And it's going to be pretty tough. Now, I'm looking at a Lolita pick coming from the side of RQ, which was great. And they also understand the fact that EVO Singapore here likes to go on that Chang'e pick. So this is going to be pretty tough for EVO's Esports if they ever were to pick Chang'e to come in towards this matchup against RQ. And, you know, Meteor Shower is definitely one huge spell in those team fights.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if Lolita's all the way in front, then it does not mean all too much. And if they get caught out with a Nunes Blast, it's going to be pretty tough. But you talk about the Valor, it's going to be EVO's Esports being pretty much greedy with both mage picks right here.
I kind of like that. And though the mage picks, I completely forgot about the Valir at this point in time. Yeah, he's going to be put into that support role. He deals a lot of damage, has a lot of disruption. The pushback is absolutely great. The moment he hits level 4, I mean, he's almost guaranteed first blood even in certain situations. Great wave clear, everything you want in a support, just that he doesn't have a very large health total.
Well, I would certainly agree with that, but I really don't like the fact that EVO's Esports, they don't really have a proper tank per se, other than, you know, Esmeralda as well as Kaya as the frontliner. And if RRQ here gets themselves pretty much all ramped up with those early leads of the game, then I would say the side of EVO's SG will possibly be in pretty deep trouble.
Agreed. I definitely agree there. I think a lot of work needs to be done by both Kaya as well as the Valir to kind of set the pace of the game. The tempo needs to be controlled for the side of EVO's Esports, but let's just see how RRQ kind of wants to play this out, because they have to play this until level 4, and that's when they need to capitalize.
That's right, and of course, that final pick of the Gorge is something that is a stroke of genius as well, just in case if they were to commit in that 5v5 situation. So it's going to be pretty much a great move for RRQ, and I'm having my eyes set on that Masha pick as well. Masha, of course, in MPL and MYSG was like a 50-50 sort of win rate.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure, but I've seen some great games come from MPL Indonesia with Masha split pushing, doing so much of that damage. And of course, it's really dependent on the sort of build that they go in for as well. But Masha has been pretty much tough to deal against. As she pops in that life recovery, she could just easily get back to 100%.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When you give someone like Thamos, we put Thamos on the table. Now Masha has an option where it's like, oh, I can't really fight 1v1 as good as I want to. So that kind of puts you in a controlled situation. She really has to be efficient with a lot of that wave pushing.
That's right. And of course, they really got to find a way to actually stop Masha before she even snowballs into towards that late game monster, while Thamos is going to be doing exactly the same in that sort of sense, but at least Thamos does have a little bit of that mobility to escape in that sort of situation. And we're also thinking about all these sort of the spells that all these professional players will be pulling off. You talk about Revitalize, of course, there's a lot going on with those teleportations in towards this match, but now, of course, you guys are excited, so are we, as we'll head into our very first matchup, EVO Singapore versus RRQ.
Smash them.
Now, looking at the lane assignments, it's looking pretty standard for now. Masha is going to be the top side, and Thamos should meet them. Very basic fan. They're trying to make sure, okay, no early invades, no shenanigans like this. And JPL, he just needs to keep control over the wave, put enough harassment in to kind of force them into situations where it's like, okay, you can't go for the rotation, and I won't let you because I have vision.
That's right, and now we're looking at Tsuru already clearing off the wave on the bottom side, and both sides are playing it relatively safely. They're not really going in for those aggressive invades that we've already seen them pretty well known for. But speaking of that, EVO's Esports, they're starting things off pretty much on a high tempo over on the top side. Sin will be facing off against Soul. Oh, look at that burst damage. It merely forces some moves, and RQ Sin is forced to pull off that flicker.
Yeah, really, really quick. It's really interesting what RRQ did here. They basically use Masha as a meat shield so that the tank as well as the mage doesn't take a lot of damage. In response, really well done here. Oh, the rest of the team's actually going on too. Vin is actually in quite a bit of trouble. He's taking quite a lot, but they have to kind of peel back. He's so little too late. JPL has to pull back quickly. Dashes right on out of there. I Am Jago finally responds in time. He is level 4. Oh dear, Bambi, not going to catch anybody with a Star Moon Fall. They're going to back away.
Oh, they really have to back off. Look at them. They're only level 2, and I'm Jago's going to fight back in a little bit more. So possibly he's going to escape, and he's going to be forced with that flicker as that bubble almost hits him right behind him. And now JPL. I really like the name change, so of course it confuses a little bit right there. But now look at the goal standings here. It's only about 200 gold in favor of RRQ.
Huh. Looks like there's only one arrival in this game. Okay, pretty interesting, pretty interesting. But yeah, I think Seoul has done a really good job there controlling that top side, making sure Masha doesn't get too ahead and forcing out battle spells because she isn't managing that health total.
That's right. Of course, we're seeing a lot of arrivals being played out in the previous matches in the MPL, but now starting off with only one here, it's still going to be pretty much vital, but we're seeing some challenges inside of the turtle pit here, as this will be first blood in the hands of RRQ, as the guard will be able to take one down. But Liam already on the forefront here, forces the flicker away from Ace, and now JPL has his Divine Judgment, but what can he do when he's all alone?
Yeah, there's just no follow-up right now. He can't really go in. A great catch coming in from the RRQ, especially nailing a priority target like Oh Dear Bambi on that Esmeralda. Nicely done. Like, Oh Dear Bambi definitely disrespected a little walking up there.
Oh, yes, indeed. And now we're seeing JPL, of course, just checking on all these brush, making sure that every single one of these corners are going to be checked instead of getting themselves into his trouble. But look at JPL. He wants to force the Divine Judgment. That's an easy kill for EVOS SG.
Great setup. I mean, I don't know whether or not I think Potato should have been able to land the ultimate there without any issues, but you know, just in case, get a Divine Judgment just to add a little bit more salt to the wound.
Oh, that's right. And of course, giving the kill over on the Granger is going to be pretty much vital. But look at Mid. He's walking into a trap, but instead, JPL almost get caught as well. Here comes the backup coming from Liam as well, trying to get in with that Hurricane Dash, hitting him across the wall, pushing him into his Taturo as well. And this will be yet another kill falling in the hands of Taturo.
Great plays coming in from RRQ there. EVOS Esports is in a little bit of trouble. They are giving a little bit too much space for RRQ to kind of play with here. They're putting themselves very vulnerable. Now, ball lane, Ubidon Blast is already put. Ace is in trouble. Gets locked down instantaneously. The moment Ayajago has his ultimate, he will go for another kill. Granger goes down too as the rest of RRQ backs away. What a clean dive.
Did you just see all three of these ultimates being utilized at the same time? And I just love how RRQ is sieging right now. And immediately, they secure yet another one. He should not even be anywhere close as JPL will falter. But back into the top lane here. Soul versus Sid.
Yeah, he's doing a great job maintaining Masha's life at, you know, that 1 bar instead of maximum of 3, just to make sure that he's always in threat for his life. If he walks up too far, he's going to get punished. But
That's
again,
right.
RRQ, the rest of the team is doing such a good job. On the opposite side of the map, they took Turtle, taking buffs, and now the big question is, can they break that top and mid?
Well, it should be pretty much a good rotation to take that one tower down. It shouldn't be too much of a hassle. As we look at the goal graph here, it's slowly, of course, heavily favoring on RRQ, if I must correct myself right there. But EVOS Esports looking for a little bit of leeway here to catch out some of the stray members of RRQ. Now, Taturu is going to soak in a little bit of that sort of poke, but it shouldn't mean too much. Maximum charge already landing on Jiao PL. Of course, a little update on that name. But top side, it might just be a flank coming from RRQ.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job. RRQ is just keeping tabs on exactly where they are, making sure they don't have any options. They go for the initial stun here, switching over to Sin. He has to back away while they invade. I'm not sure whether they stole away the buff, but we're just going to have to wait and see. But Sin, he's just trying to maintain his space, and the rest of EVOS is making sure he is at 1 life bar.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Sin should have no issues at all to deal with these members, but when the Divine Judgment hits, it might just spell doom for them. But of course, Vin here will be able to take the second tower for RRQ.
Yeah, they make a close call, and I think if I was in EVO's position, the rotations coming in from RRQ is pretty quick, so they preemptively sent someone else to the top side, making sure they can kind of go for to protect that side of the map. They end up losing mid-turret in response, so I guess that might have not been the best play just yet. But I mean, EVOS Esports SG, they need to find something here. Masha is going to have a field day with this amount of pressure that RRQ is putting.
Oh, that's right. But look at Bean, though, right? It's back in the middle, gets pulled with the Divine Judgment. course, this will be that one kill being secured here for the side of EVOS. And oh dear Bambi, of course, the captain of EVOS is trying to do as much as he can to push themselves ahead with a lead, but it will still be a lead in the hands of RRQ for now.
Yeah, sacrificing Lolita. Masha just got a free push, breaking tier 2 easily with a single wave. You have to give her respect. Oh, wait, Liam, he's going for the arrival. Where is he going? To the top side of the map to kind of defend it and get a little bit more damage into that turret. But I think the rest of the team just wants to keep control over this turtle.
Oh, yeah. I felt like it was an unnecessary arrival, if you really want to ask me in that sort of sense. We are having a one-on-one battle inside the jungle here as Soul goes in for the chase. And Sin is just running away. And that will be a flicker here committed by Soul. But instead, he's getting placed around. And now that kill will definitely be in the hands of Soul.
Nicely done. I mean, EVOS, as she realized that, okay, their 4 is a lot stronger. We can only do so much here. We're not going to give Turtle away. We're going to deal with your other win condition, making sure that, oh no, JPL might be in trouble. He takes a lot of damage from that charge, but they don't capitalize on it just yet. I don't think Gordon has his ultimate. He used it earlier in the mid lane, so they don't have that kill pressure anymore. Oh,
that's right. And of course, for EVOS Esports, they are just making sure that they stay as a unit over on the mid side as well. And they are just trying to raid inside. And look at Soul. He invaded the wrong territory, and he gets caught out. I felt like that should not happen at all, especially in a World Championship sort of phase here where, you know, you are not really facing against mid-tier teams. These are top-tier teams from all over the world, and RRQ will punish them for their mistakes.
Exactly. These guys, I mean, again, you mentioned top-tier teams. You cannot disrespect them. Now, I think they're just trying to keep pace with RRQ as of right now. So close to dying here. The maximum charge, is it going to land? Just short. Just short, my goodness.
Oh, that was really close, but now RRQ will claim yet another tower on the top side as well, looking for JPL, but there's nothing much that EVOS SG can do but to fall back. Now the next aim will possibly be the mid lane as well, as we see Vin already on the forefront here. Soul needs to make a move, but that Lolita is not allowing any members to go past.
They need to make something happen here. The play can't be made. Ace can't seem to get into the fight without that Numenor boss just completely shutting him off. So they're looking for an opportunity to go in here. Oh, this is a little sketchy coming in from Soul as well as Bambi here, but it doesn't look like RQ want to pounce on it just yet. They're just kind of waiting for a mistake to be made by EVOS first.
Yeah, they have absolute control inside of the jungle, and now we're looking at Vin here bringing one of these members to 50%. JPL have to fall back, and here comes Bambi trying to steal the buff away, and of course Liam here will be eyeing out if whether or not will they be opposite, and if they do cross the line, that will be a hurricane dance ready to blow them back in towards the territories of RRQ.
Queen's wings bought by Soul. Sin just got his corrosive sight, so there is no running from him, but he will be able to solo every objective, but a mid-fight actually breaks out. EVOS Esports are trying to turn this around, but they can't. They're just locked into place. Soul goes down as well. They knew they needed to defend Lord, but oh dear Bambi, he's kind of chilling out right here. Sin's in trouble. The rest of the team calls it, collapses straight on top of him. Let's have a replay one more time.
And look at them go. RRQ had the perfect setup, and of course, just in the blink of an eye, we're seeing even the Lord falling in the hands of RRQ. What a clean performance that we're seeing from RRQ so far, and slowly it might just touch that 10K gold lead mark.
Yeah, it's not looking good for EVOS SG here. They don't exactly have a lot of playmakers in their sides besides JPL, and right now, he's being shut down very hard. Like, he's getting hit by a lot of abilities that should not be landing.
This is what I was talking about when we started the draft, and I talked about the side of EVOS SG not really having a reliable tank if they do fall in the early phase of the game, and now they're dealing with the same trouble, and the Lord is already knocking on their doors, trying to crush the mid lane tower, and RRQ is just waiting for an available mistake. But look at JPL though, he's in position, he's still waiting, and oh, that Gord, oh my goodness, he gets cut out!
Ooh, they pull backwards. Good disengage. Good disengage. He still had the flicker, but now they're still going to get an inhibitor turret on the top side of the map. They're playing it slow, but RRQ know that they are in control. They can take one more inhibitor down, and yes, they do. They're breaking everything. They're slowly collapsing down onto EVOS SG's economy.
That's right, and of course, we have Akai also buying that immortality, which means it's going to be even harder for the members of EVOS. But look at that go. Vin's gonna go in with the Numinous Blast, catching over onto 3 members with the flicker as well. Hurricane Dance playing on the base, and now RRQ, they're crashing right in, and Oh Dear Mambi almost falling out, and look at EVOS members all in the disarray. Minions are still in the front, but RRQ does not even want to make any sort of a mistake at all.
Yep, this is a killing blow here. The Death Timers, they're going to be able to respawn. Oh dear Bambi, he survived the last onslaught.
Whoa.
He needs to clear top side. But again,
Ben.
minions are pushing in. Tuturu, he's going to be walking on in. There's nothing they can do. I am Jago, does not miss. His aim is true, and he cuts down the rest of the members of EVOS Esports SG. They are looking to end this. Oh, ace.
Oh my goodness, what a clean game one that we're seeing here from Rex, Regum, Keon. And now, game 1 already in the bag for RRQ. Indonesia here, showing them why they are the most respected region of all the other teams across the board. And of course, EVOS Esports here, having that first defeat of the day. Of course, a sour taste and towards the early mornings right here.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that they could still find a way to come back, because this is, after all, a best of 5.
Yeah, I definitely agree here. I think for the most part, you have to keep in mind that EVOS SG, they're dealing with Indonesia, and they are just, right now, they look like they're on a completely different level. They really were shut down. Valir was basically there just to wave clear. He didn't really get a lot of opportunity to roam around too much. And more importantly, I think the control coming in from RRQ was pretty devastating. They just cut off rotational paths, made sure they controlled the river line. They just didn't let them play the game like they wanted to.
I totally would say that all these members of EVOS Esports look like they were not really all too ready for what's in store for them. As we saw, a couple of these members get caught out in between. Of course, MVP here will definitely be Tuturu. He has not fallen a single time. Same goes to I'm Jago, coming pretty close a second if you were to ask me as well. But members of EVOS, I felt like their strength is in team fights, and they can't really seem to really commit to doing exactly just that.
And see, that's the thing. They don't have, they've got linear playmakers. JPL, you give him something like Cho, he has more options to attack the team in different areas. But when you have something like Kaja, he just goes in, locks one person, pulls back out. It gives opportunity for the rest of the team to kind of collapse on them. But let's look at the replays here for, throughout the game. What do you think that RRQ did right?
Well, I really liked this sort of invade over on the bottom side where they just came crashing in. Of course, it became a 1v1 battle between Sin as well as Soul. Really great commitment, but when they were committed to that, they lost out the turtle. And that sort of fight happening inside the jungle was another devastating blow towards EVOS SG.
Yeah, I think overall they were just controlling the map a little too well. The early game didn't exactly go too well, especially with I Am Jago getting those early pickups with that stun, which surprisingly he's been landing. It's not a difficult ability to sidestep, but the trajectory can be confusing, and the bounces, those bounces can be so frustrating.
Oh, yes, indeed. And look at how well Vin was actually opening up the doors for every single one of these members of RQ to crash right in. And I really got to give him that credit, because he definitely was hitting every single battle with some clear, precise ultimate, with that Numinous Blast catching over multiple members. And of course, with that being said, this gives RQ that edge to take game 1 in their hands.
I think more importantly, we have to kind of put the spotlight on Masha here, because she's putting a lot of pressure. And even though like Thamos is a bad matchup and she's put to basically one health bar throughout the entirety of the fight, not a lot of heroes can do what Masha does, which, I just took a really bad trade. I just walk away, at a tap of a button, I get an entire bar back, walk back into lane like nothing ever happened.
That's right, and this is that sort of annoyance that EVOS Singapore has to deal with, and they were torn apart in the sort of sense that they don't really know how exactly to deal with that sort of split push as well, or even to actually commit to a fight. Should you take down Masha first, or should you even find a way to get anywhere close to that Gorg, or even the Kimi? Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough. They had a really difficult wall. They had great ways of disengage. The Hurricane Dance not necessarily needed to be a way to make a play, but more importantly, that Numenon Blast, it's the same thing as the Hurricane Dance, where it can be used offensively and defensively to either engage or disengage from team fights.
That's right, and of course, I really like the Akai. He is really that sort of pick that they really needed in that sort of sense. And at first, I was like thinking, why was it the high priority on towards Akai? And once they finally secured the tank as well as the fighter, they don't really have anything else to worry about. They could still opt for so many of the options of the mages, and I felt like, of course, having the Akai is definitely that sort of guard protection for them if any one of all these threats were to come from EVOS SG.
Yeah, especially when you have Lolita as well. They're both kind of interchangeable, and they do such a good job, especially with picks with their own different utility. I think overall, Masha, really difficult to deal with, especially from the Indonesian side. But we're just going to have to see how EVOS kind of wants to adapt to this situation. They're going to be put into the red side, and maybe they have something else in store to deal with RRQ this time.
That's right, of course. We're going to be heading into its game number 2 shortly. And whether or not EVOS SG has any clue to actually counter that sort of power that RRQ has. And of course, maybe it was just some pretty much a warm-up for the EVOS SG side. And we've seen them, of course, not really losing huge series coming to MPL MYSG. But some couple of bad days, we see them dropping out at least a single game.
For sure. Yeah. I expect them, if they make it into the playoffs, to be playing at their best. The question is, are they going to show a good enough of a performance in Group A alone to get them out of there? And I mean, right now, it's not looking too good, but it's fine. It's just the first series of the day. Again, as you mentioned, warming up, got to stretch out those fingers a little bit more before they go back into it here. And I think they need to at least like grab a win off of RRQ just to boost morale.
That's right. And of course, that is just the beginning of the M1, and we are still having so many of these games to unfold in the later stages of the day. And well, this is definitely going to be a long hurdle for many of these teams. And of course, we'd like to also thank our organizers as well as sponsors for making all of this possible. Of course, starting off this whole entirety of the M1 World Championship is presented by Moonton. And we're live streaming on YouTube Gaming, and our official sponsors are U-Mobile.
Yeah, oh man. So far, tournament's been going smoothly, like no technical issues, and that's just great because that means more and more action for you guys. And more importantly, I think coming into this game, I was giving you a thought when you were doing the housekeeping, that the real question here is whether or not on red side, does EVOS Esports want to pick up something like the Masha for themselves? We've seen Soul play it a couple of times. Not too well in the MPL, but since then he's got a lot of time to actually get some good practice on it. Might be able to bring it out this time round. Not so sure. Any thoughts?
Well, I do think that that's going to be a great pick, but let's find out as we head in towards match 2 between two of these titans. Now, like you said, RRQ will be headed into the blue side, while EVOS SG on the red. Now, it's Masha being banned away by RRQ instead.
Yeah, I think RRQ definitely see the power of the Masha. Don't want to deal with it because, again, it pries your team a little bit too hard. Does a really good job at split pushing compared to like something like a Hayabusa. But Grok going to be banned out for the side of EVOS Esports. Overall, just a great hero.
Oh, yes, indeed. And no matter how many nerves and hits he takes, Grok is still one solid rock that cannot be moved away from the meta. And now, heading in towards the final 2 bans here, I would still say that there's going to be a little bit more on that priority on those tanks. And I'm not sure whether if they would actually remove Kaya, but Xborg is definitely one great option because we've seen Soul performing so well in those grand final runs in the MPL and MySG.
Yeah, and that's just going to revert him back into Thamos depending on what the matchup is. But again, EVOS Esports, they're going to have a couple of options coming into the first phase here. They're really thinking about this one. They could go for, again, lock out the Kufra or maybe just, you know, ban out the Kaya this time around just to ensure that they don't have something that sets up fights really well.
Now, heading in towards that first pickup here, I do believe that RRQ will definitely have a lot of all these sort of great pickups here, and it will still be the Kaya as that priority. And what do you feel like both teams have been prioritizing on this sort of pickup? Of course, we talk about Divine Judgment, but other than that, I feel Kaya, of course, if she cannot get those great pickups in these early stages, then it will be pretty tough in towards the late game when all these items will be stacked against Kai.
Agreed. I definitely agree here. I think it's going to be Hylos and maybe even arguably Cho just to kind of flex out the pick. Tough to say, but yeah, I do agree with you that she does kind of it is a little lackluster in comparison to like the strong. I wouldn't say the strongest, but I would say very versatile Cho. She is one-dimensional, goes in, locks somebody, pulls them out, that sort of thing.
Akai.
But again, I think it's tough to
is
say.
picking.
Ooh, instead of Cho, they're actually going for the Akai. It looks like they want to have a playmaker and a dedicated tank.
That's right, and of course, the previous game we've already seen Hylos being banned away, and this time around, once it's being left open, they take any chances that they can get. So, two really solid frontliners already being secured. Now, RQ's response, what are they going to go for? I don't really think that things like Mentor will even be in the picture because how easily it could be pushed away by the Hurricane Dance. Maybe something like, I don't know, a support like Diggy would be pretty much great, but instead, they're still prioritizing on that Kimmy pickup. So RQ will still have a couple of seconds to think about, and they steal the Tamas away from EVO's SG.
He's not going to have I mean, Soul's not going to have a lot of options to play left, and that might force him into going into Hayabusa, which isn't too great because for the first 6 minutes of the game, you're just going to get oppressed by Thamos for the most part.
Oh, yes. I would say that this is definitely going to be a huge challenge for EVO's esports, and we're looking at Ace here, trying to close things off. Should he even go in for that marksman pickup here? Because previously we've seen that Granger pick, and it was dealing with, of course, the Kimmy as well. But Kimmy has definitely had a lot more impact. But this button pickup is definitely something that's pretty much piqued my interest here because that will possibly negate certain picks like Esmeralda to come into play.
Yeah. I mean, oh man, Badang is really interesting. He's in a really interesting place because he scales obnoxiously well now with his current item build. They fixed him and put him in a weird place where he kind of does a lot of things, but it's all solely dependent on how much of a lead he gets into the early game. Because again, he needs 2 items before he really pops off, and before then, his ultimate isn't going to be enough to one-shot somebody, but it's going to get real close.
That's right, the Frisk Crack will possibly deal that sort of on-hit effect as well. So that's definitely something to actually look after if they were to actually commit in towards that sort of fight. So heading in towards mid to late game, that's where EVO Singapore definitely shines. But now, going in towards the very final band here, I'm not too sure what should they actually take out from RRQ side, but they will opt to actually remove Lolita as well. That sort of core tank still left available.
Yep. More importantly, setting up for the Changor perfectly.
Oh man, totally forgot about that as well. So, of course, it doesn't make sense for EVO to still go in for that Lolita as well. Like they've already got so many melee pickups right there. So if they were to actually take up more ranges, definitely would be perfect. Now, RQ's turn for their fiery final 2 picks to complete the matchup. And I don't know, the boys from EVO's SG are looking a little bit more tense than usual.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's just, you know, jet lag or whether they're just like, nervous to be playing so early in the day, but
pretty sure there's no jet lag though because we play on that sort of same time zone.
I'm trying to give him an out here. I'm trying to give him an out. Oh, come on, man. Come
on,
man.
Let's cut him some slack in that sort of sense. But Baxia though, we're going to see our very first Baxia in M1. So this is definitely going to be pretty much exciting. Of course, there's going to be the great sort of chase coming in from Tsuru, heading all over the map. And if he does get one good catch on towards members like the Chonger, then that will be definitely something that will be a great pickup for RRQ.
Yeah, I mean, Baxia overall, that Tortoise Poissons is just a great ability. I kind of feel I'm kind of torn because it's like to me it's like a Johnson ultimate, except you have more angles to kind of engage. You can get a good back flank if you have the options, but overall I haven't been seeing Baxia perform over the moon here. It's not as good as Grok. It's not as game-changing as an Akai, and that's what really hurts me.
I would definitely agree that it's not as great as Masha, is not as great as some of all these tanks such as the Grok, but now we're seeing of course, the Granger being brought right in. So that will complete the entirety of the lineup of EVOS SG. Which one do you favor the most coming into its game 2?
Tough to say. It really is tough because there's some great options coming in from RRQ to kind of play around the composition of EVOS SG here. But if I had to say, it really comes down to the supports here, because the supports are going to make a very big difference, especially with the Akai Hurricane Dance. He's going to be looking for those big engages. The Baxia as well as the Kaja, that's a tough combination to beat. I'm not gonna lie. I'm leaning a little bit, just a little bit towards RRQ because they have a lot of options to get on top of the Chang'e, and it's really on Oh Dear Bambi to be in a better position in comparison to the supports from RRQ if they want to win this matchup.
From my side, I do like the side of EVOS Singapore having a little bit more security hitting into its mid game.
Agreed,
as compared to what they drafted back in game 1. This is definitely a lot better than what we saw. At least they understand now that we need some of all these members to at least soak some damage. So they've got that crossed out on those checkbox.
Yes.
And now bringing back that Chang'e pick that they did pull out in those grand finals back in MYSG. So this is one of that sort of a pocket pick strat that they do have coming in towards M1. Well,
I mean, it was like a pocket pick strat, and then it just became meta. Now everybody is just like, all right, I'll just have Chang'e in the back of my mind, but let's go into game 2. This is between Rex Regum Geon against EVOS SG game 2.
That's right, and if you haven't got yourself the tickets to MLBB M1 World Championship, it's happening on the weekends here in Asiat Arena, so make sure you guys grab it real quick with the promo codes being provided. Now, we're starting off with a 2 versus 2, and we're in mid lane. Of course, topside, we're going to see a little bit of that tussle between Tuturu, Ace, as well as Potato. They're already on the prowl, already dealing quite a chunk of damage, but this shouldn't be too much of a problem for them to actually face off with. So, of course, we're seeing a little bit of Revitalize for Liam here. So, what do you feel about Revitalize on Baxia?
Great spell. Absolutely great spell. But it also allows Baxia to kind of hold on his own when he goes for an engage and the team isn't able to follow up like exactly on time here. But I think overall, it's pretty smart what both teams did. Right now, especially Revitalize on the Baxia, great. But on the side of EVOS Esports SG, I think what they did is really smart here, where they kind of switched up the lanes, where they said, okay, we're going to put you on the dual lane in the top side because we know for a fact that Barang can't do a great job, and it's already paying off. I mean, Revitalize, great switch on the other side of the map, and they immediately punish them on the bottom side. Great rotations from mid.
Oh, yes. We'll definitely see a great start for the side of EVOS Singapore. And now Soul close to actually falling out. Flicker's being popped out instead. And now Bambi as well as JPL tries to return the favor. And this will be 2 kills in the bag. And this is just in the span of less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, oh, that was close. That was really, really close here, especially from RRQ. He got a little hungry for blood. You can definitely see it in his eyes. He wasn't able to get a range for that last auto attack, but overall, I think EVOS Esports are very happy with the catch that they got. 2-0 right now. They have to keep playing the game slow, especially if you're in RRQ's position, because you do scale pretty decently when you have carry on your side.
That's right, and then we see a little bit of that hastiness coming in from the side of RRQ. I felt like if they were just to play things a little bit safer, and you're already forcing somebody to back away, they're already losing that experience. You don't really have to fully commit in that sort of sense. But now, for Cerno being challenged, and here comes the box. Face crack being pulled out as well, but Soul already negating them from entering, and that first Soul goes in the hands of EVOS Singapore, and Righteous Pathway has been opened up as well. But now, that's pretty much a clean disengage from EVOS SG.
So nicely done. Oh dear Bambi, great zone control here. Liam making sure he tries to make sure that no one else is able to get out here. The stun goes through, but again, doesn't really matter here. Sin's gonna back away. Soul Quigong Fist pushes him away, but he knows he doesn't have enough damage to one-shot Sin just yet. And more importantly, he can just Phantom Step over the Fist Break.
That's right. And look at Vin, even that sort of distance, he's getting chunked out by Chang'e's ult, and Liam here possibly trying to actually get a couple of all that sort of informations now. A couple of minutes have passed, but the next objective will still be on the top side of the river, as Ace as well as Potato has been doing such an absolute great work against the Turus thus far.
Yep. Oh, nicely done. Great maximum impact. Stealing away the buff. Oh, great catch. Bin pushes him through. Oh dear, Bambi's in trouble. Quickly having to pump the sprint. Meteor Shower is being put down, but JPL disengages any more follow-up with the Hurricane Dance. Oh, Zin's in trouble.
Wow.
Flicker already coming through. Soul, he tried to go for an initial all-in. Doesn't get that last hit. And Ace has to put the Gore's pathway down to bail out of there. Gets a good amount of regeneration, giving away the crab, but no kills going over to RRQ.
I'm just loving the entire chess piece coming from both sides, and we see great amount of respect being shown to their opposing sides as well. So getting a little bit more than he should, and he's just taking a little bit more from the jungle instead. Now, of course, EVOS Esports get a little bit of that sort of a goal lead that they have here. It's about 400 gold for the time being, but it's definitely going to change in a span of a few minutes here. And Soul, I think that he's getting a lot of trap being posed upon him as Liam is already cutting in towards the jungle looking for old year Bambi.
Yeah, and again, Liam is just being super annoying. He's gaining vision, and he's pretty much unstoppable for the most part, but he's not really engaging on anybody. He's gathering information, telling his team, oh, this is where the movements of the enemy are, this is what they're currently doing, making sure they know exactly where EVOS SG is at all times.
That's right. We're seeing great movements coming across that box here. Of course, now they're trying to actually disturb some of these members of EVOS Esports. Now, we're seeing, of course, Boxia being so mobile to actually rotate across the map to even support this team. And now, turtle number 2 already being spawned. Is EVOS going to be ready for this?
Oh! Ooh, locking him down. I mean, the double ultimate was a bit of an overkill, but you know, you want to make sure you secure it. Oh, Potato's in trouble. He gets caught out here, and Liam just ensures his death, cutting off his exits completely, as the rest of EVOS Esports are just the second tad bit behind.
That's right. And for members on the top side here, let's have a look into it. It's a quick replay on how they managed to set this one up. And of course, we see Ace here opening up that righteous pathway a little bit way too late to actually join in the party as well. And this turtle, of course, getting pulled back and forth, but no commitments whatsoever until Liam goes in crashing towards the side of JPL, pulls him back with a divine judgment as well. And JPL here still managing to escape with that frog leap as well as Hurricane Dance all intact.
Oh, so nicely done. So nicely done. 1,000 pounder just to get the shield as well. I mean, the rest of the team is just kind of holding on their own, and now Soul's in trouble. He has to recall out of there before they collapse on it. I think he should be able to get away here. No issues whatsoever. EVOS Esports controlling the top side, and despite having a two-kill lead, the gold is pretty even.
Yes, we see both sides stalling it out for a little bit more, and members of RRQ here are trying to poke as much as they can, trying to force away EVOS SG. In terms of itemization, we've already seen one Bloodlust Axe for the side of Tamas, as we see Jiao PL already locking Sin on the wall, but here comes the follow-up coming a little bit too late though. Soul almost getting a catch, but that Meteor Shower will be able to connect, and my oh my, Odia Bambi gets one kill.
Yeah, they are going to continue forward as they push through. Vin gets an initial catch, but again, not the priority target. Good disengage. They lock him down with the law in order, but the rest of the team is going to pull back.
Oh my goodness me. It's Soul coming in with the Frizz Crack as well. Almost here now. Jago in the back and WPL going in with the flicker. But that's a huge blunder that we're seeing here. 3 members are low, but that should not even be made possible. Of course, EVOS Esports still looking for a dive, but there's no minutes going in. So this means that they can take the next best option, which will be the turtle.
Yep, great punishment. They're going to wait for the next wave. They have Badong on the side, but let's look at the replay here, because it was looking like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And all of a sudden, Oh Dear Bambi comes through. He gets his ultimate again and just completely cuts off the lane. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to let you walk back to your turret. I'm going to chunk you out completely with just the Meteor Shower.
Oh my, now we're seeing a little bit more action on the top side as well. Of course, even on the bottom side, we see a little bit of skirmish, and Bambi being left by himself. This is going to be having JPL to protect him for the time being, but Tsuru is going to catch that Panda out, and Hurricane Dance has been forced out. Bambi instead turns things around. Oh, he's still alive. Tsuru trying to force him all the way back, and Potato here, 1 versus 2, and will fall to the hands of I Am Jago.
Yeah, and RRQ are doing something really interesting here because not only are they putting pressure, they're forcing out mistakes out of EVOS SG. They know that Oh Dear Bambi as well, for a fact that JPL can kind of hold their own, but Ace on the other hand, he is struggling to hold the mid lane, especially when you're up against Kimmy, who has more angles in the mid lane compared to the bottom side of the map.
Now, of course, I would say that Kimmy here solely scaling in towards the late game here will be something that's going to be pretty much vital for the side of RRQ, because this Kimmy is just going to get stronger and stronger as the game progresses. And heading in towards this minute right here, we're seeing so many of these objectives being leaning over the top side here, as RRQ has absolutely great control. But then again, look at EVOS here, still desperate for a catch, still trying to look for that opportunity, but Liam has been the bane of every sort of team fight that they get into.
Yeah, I mean, Liam is basically just spotting out EVOS Esports wherever they are, making sure that they don't have angles, and he's more importantly cutting off rotation paths for EVOS Esports. Like, they have to take such a long detour to get to another lane. They can't just beeline it to the top side of the map or beeline it to the bottom side wherever they want to, because Boxia is just like, no, I'm not going to let you.
Yep, not going to be able to actually give any sort of room for them to even pull the trigger. But speaking of pulling the trigger here, great sort of shots have been coming out from I Am Jago, and he hasn't really missed all too much of those maximum charge from the previous game all the way to now as well. Now, EVOS Esports, knowing that the Lord is up, but they're not really going to be fully committing in towards getting themselves in towards danger. Jiapiao also trying to set up a little bit of that sort of a camp, as we see a golden staff have been purchased by the Badang.
That's a huge buy. That means he has a lot of damage in store. He just needs an opportunity to get to that backline. I think he should be able to one-shot carry here. Oh, Liam takes quite a bit of damage. Meteor Shower on the opposite side, trying to zone out the two main the two playmakers as well as the carry.
Wow. Now, I'm seeing a lot of all these turrets slowly falling off for the side of EVOS SG, and they don't really seem to be responding all too well, but they are sticking as a unit over the mid side here. And we see Ace being a really vital member to actually keep members of EVOS SG well in life in those team fights. Meteor Shower has been expended, trying to take down Liam. Not really going to be having all too much of the room to actually step further in towards the jungle, as Liam will be forcing them to back away as well.
Yeah, and what used to be EVOS Esports having a good lead, RQ have actually caught back up and surpassed them in gold. And this is kind of surprising, because I would have expected by now EVOS SG would still be in the lead, even if it's by a little bit here.
Oh, I would say that it's definitely not too high of a surprise, because they managed to secure the turtles and taking even more objectives than EVOS. So that means even more gold being funneled into the hands of RQ, but Ace knows what's up. The Lord has been taken down to 50%, and EVOS, if they really want this Lord, they really gotta make a move. And now here comes the team fight as well, forcing it on the but Liam in the middle of it all. It won't be. Rice is going to open up. JPL opens up the Hurricane Dash, but will force them away. But Liam somehow is still alive. Demby forcing out the Meteor Shower as well. But none of these members of RQ can even be bothered about that as they take down yet another tower.
RQ is just so smart. Like, Liam is able to tank so much with the Revitalize. He's holding back 4 members from the enemy team. And now they're going to go for another rotation. Oh, they already popped the Meteor Shower. They get the first initial kill, finally getting rid of the Boxer. He doesn't have Revitalize to kind of power through the damage. But now the rest of EVOS Esports, they've lost pretty much all their outer turrets at this point, or leaving top tier 2 still standing. But for the most part, the inhibitors are going to be the next objective, and more importantly, Lord is going to be highly contested.
And we see the carry was attempting on the Lord for a little bit in the sort of early game, but now it's going to be a little bit of that push and pull between EVOS as well as RQ. And now they're taking it pretty low. Are they actually forcing this one out? The Lord not getting up in the air. Zatur goes with the Chris Cack, and my goodness me, EVOS are getting pummeled down. And Sin going for the chase as well. There's still all 5 members left in 10. Maximum charge over on Potato as well. JPL almost heading out of the game, but now this is the best opportunity for RRQ to close things out.
Yep, Meteor Shower just gonna instantly pop down the Thambos, but he just wanted that inhibitor that he was willing to give his life for it. But that's not all. They forced out the meteor shower, so they can't protect mid either. They're losing their inhibitors one by one.
I just love the macro game coming from RRQ. Look at how well they just control every single lane, and they knew what to do. They don't really care whether they have the Lord or not, but they know if they do force the fight, they will get the advantage that they are looking for. Of course, we're going to see a little bit of that sort of replay, of course, brought to you by U-Mobile.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Just the Lord fight in general, it was looking so good until they realized that their priority target, I Am Jungle, didn't get caught into that fist crack. He uses the chemical refinement, gets out of there, and just chunks out the rest of the team.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much difficult for even EVOS to actually come back into the game, only having one tower as well as the Lord already marching in. Bambi being forced to use the Meteor Shower to even take down the health, but RRQ, of course, still needs those minions to come right in. Now, JPL, though he is that tanky archetype, but he's still level 12. He couldn't possibly do all too much, especially when you have too many of these members in the front line with that flicker as well as Divine Justice pulling them back as well. That's the first kill, as well as the killing spree for Vin. But now look at Tsuru go. Oh, that's a big blow. And instead of getting those kills, they want to secure the game. And game 2 will also be in the hands of RQ 2 in a row.
What a strong performance coming in from RRQ there. Like, honestly, what is there left to say? The early game was going pretty good for EVOS. A couple of pickoffs here and there, and it was like, oh, that's great. This is looking good. They're coming back to form, and all of a sudden, RRQ play from behind, and that shows a lot of experience from the team on how to actually deal with EVOS Esports, even when they are just slightly behind.
That's right, and I think some of these hiccups actually were caused by that sort of a team fight that they had in those objectives, such as the turtle fight as well as that Lord fight, where we saw that was the final nail to the coffin right there for Game 2, of course, but there's still chance in Game 3. Now, let's have a look in towards the post-match results as we see, of course, Bambi dealing a whole lot of damage, but that was not enough to bring them that sort of game. But I Am Jungle this time around will be the MVP for the matchup.
Yeah. Honestly, even though I Am Jungle is the MVP, you kind of have to give it to Liam there. He has done a lot of work for the team, and that's it's really interesting because what RRQ did differently, and you don't see in a lot of teams, especially from different regions, they played a very positional macro game. And MLBB isn't exactly the most macro of macro games. It's very linear in a lot of senses, but they showed that you can actually play that to a higher level. Great catches, great split-second decision-making that allowed the team to kind of take the objective super easy.
Yeah, and Liam, the best part of all is that though he was also moving across the map, when he commits into that team fight, they've made sure that he is put into great effect, stalling things out, tanking 3 members at the very least. Of course, let's have a look into some of the replays that we have. Early game, like you said, EVOS SG were having some great lead, but that lead did not snowball into something great.
Yeah, it didn't translate into something. They were looking, they were winning fights. Oh, they got a turtle, but they didn't take turrets. And that was kind of the issue here because they needed to kind of control the map. And I think what was really good about RRQ was that even though they were behind, they were still forcing invades, still forcing positions, playing the map as the 3 lanes that it should be, rather than focusing on 2 major lanes while leaving 1 behind. That way, when they go for these invades, they have a lot of priority over their lanes, a lot of ways to steal away farm, and just kind of someone will eventually get ahead.
Yeah, I would say that because of all these sort of moves that RQ pulled out against EVOS, especially in that sort of team fight. This is definitely going to be that sort of a game-winning fight much later on in that Lord Pit when EVOS fully committed to this. They tried to take down members right behind, especially on Tsuru, but they did not have enough damage to even get anywhere close, and that definitely bit them behind.
Yeah, and that's what's really scary about RRQ right now is because no matter what they're doing, everybody has an intent or a purpose across the map. Nobody is really not being efficient with their time. You can see a lot of their movements. Oh, they're distracting topside. Okay, bot side's already being attacked with a minion wave trying to end the game. Oh, topside is being attacked with the initial invade, but they want to make sure that mid has priority before any of this happens, before they take an objective. It's 2-3 steps ahead, and I think EVOS Esports needs to get to that level sooner or later if they want to get out of this group.
That's right, and I feel like Evo Singapore, they're not really exactly in that sort of conflict zone that we usually see them in the MYSG bouts. But of course, we're talking about RRQ here. Such a team with great recognition as well as history. Of course, Evo themselves as well. But then again, there's still so much more intact. But it's time for us to pass it to our host for the interviews for our victors here, RRQ. Well, of course, we're going to take some time to really translate what's being said by both sides.
Yep.
Of course, we're going to get that sort of stuff issued. But, of course, great dominant display coming from the side of RRQ, taking down EVOS 2-0, which means that they walk away with 3 points heading towards Group A.
Yeah, that's gonna put them ahead of the crowd. Anybody who goes in with a 2-1, your 2 points ain't gonna mean nothing when you got an extra 1 point. But it's kind of devastating for EVOS Esports here, because if another one of their competitors starts winning these clean sweeps, 2 clean sweeps in a row, those extra 2 points might push them ahead of them, and that might just knock them out of the group stage. So we're just going to have to see who's going to make it out of Group A today.
That's right, and there's still a couple more games to go for EVO Singapore. If you guys are supporting EVO, so not to worry, there will be plenty of games throughout the entirety of the week of M1 World Championship.
Yeah. I think I want to talk to you about RRQ here, because we knew they were the favorites coming in to Group A. We were expecting them to come out. Who do you think can actually take a game off of these guys? Because after that performance, they are looking good.
Yes, indeed. And of course, I was actually expecting EVO SG to take at least 1 game off of them if they don't really win off the series, of course. But then again, we still have the Vietnamese who have yet to play, and mind you, they have been creating a lot of all these metas in the previous couple of seasons. So they are definitely one to actually set up some trends as well. So perhaps this time, if they were to actually come in to fight against RRQ, they might be able to actually pull some strings. But then again, RRQ looking so sharp, looking so dominant. It's pretty hard to even say that anyone comes pretty close. But this is just the first game. We still have plenty more in the next couple of minutes here. So get in. Are you even ready for what's about to come?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for what's about to come. And to touch on your point that Vietnam is actually a pretty interesting wildcard region here, because they don't exactly have their own MPL, but even though they're so close to us, but in terms of their gameplay and style, after their performance at MSC with their representatives at the time, the Overclockers, those guys didn't look good in groups, but they got so good during the playoffs. And I don't know whether this is going to be the same case, or whether they've kind of learned from that initial mistake and, all right, we're going to prepare for this, and when we come to M1, we're going to be ready for the meta.
That's right, and you're talking about Overclockers right here. They are definitely that sort of veterans, and even for themselves, they're not even in this competition, which definitely proves a point where
it kind of shows, right?
It shows you, if you know that team is great enough. Well, of course, we still have even more great teams in the Vietnamese region, and of course, I really want to find out the rest of the world, especially for the side of Turkey as well as North America, what they have to offer. So, of course, we're still focusing on Group A for the current time being. And for those of you guys who, of course, are currently watching M1 World Championship, Mobile Legends Bang Bang is, of course, presented by Moonton. And, of course, live stream on YouTube Gaming, and our official sponsors are U Mobile.
And make sure you are just showing your love and support in the chat itself. Make sure you're telling your favorite teams who you support, because they're going to need your energy if they're going to be making it out of Group A today.
Well, of course, give them all this cheer, as well as make sure you share all over your social media if you could possibly do so. Of course, all that's joyous is something that you should be able to spread to all your other friends as well. But then again, focusing back in towards the game that was just concluded. So, EVO Singapore, do you feel like they still have that sort of a chance here to climb back against the other competitors in Group A?
I definitely agree. I definitely think they have a good chance. I think, okay, breaking it down against RRQ, Game 1, I don't think they were playing at their best. Game 2 is where they kind of lost confidence towards the later stages of the game, realizing that RRQ Spirit did not break and they were kind of creeping up them from behind, and they were making a lot of efficient decisions. I think that might have shook them a little bit, but coming into this, I do expect a lot out of EVOS SG, especially after the strong performance at MPL MYSG. They technically, stat-wise, should be making it out of Group A, but again, it's shaky. A group stage is where anything could happen.
That's right, and of course, group stages is definitely that sort of place where there's going to be upsets, and of course, rising stars, rising talent, names that you may not have heard before might be your next world champion. And of course, this is the very first time that we're having a world championship for Mobile Legends Bang Bang. So every single moment here matters for all these players. So if there was one favorite player for you right now that you could pull off of your head, who would that be?
From all the groups, or just Group A?
Any sort of the groups at all.
Ooh, I mean, I don't want to. I'm thinking about it, but it's definitely got to be. It's definitely got to be a Donkey here.
Oh, Donkey.
Yeah.
From EVOS Legends?
Yeah.
I think that he's definitely a great name worth mentioning. Same goes to Aura, who has been playing
Aura
for
as well. He's
such a long time.
It's honestly one of the two, because they are just great players overall. They're really flashy. They're really great. The mechanics are just like on point. I don't ever see them missing skill shots. Most of the time, they don't miss. They really don't miss. I don't know how they do it. It's just something that happens. But honestly, it's all just the taste. Like, every single part of group stages, every teams that we're going to expect in the group stage is just like a little appetizer for the real deal at the playoffs itself, where they have to bring their A game. But for now, I'm just enjoying the appetizers, dude. These teams are showing some great skill. Baxia as well, where I was definitely doubting it, definitely showed that he can control areas if he is tanky enough. I'm just waiting to see if someone is going to break those conditions.
That's right, and we're only seeing the Indonesian side using Baxia for now. Will this possibly be that sort of trend that will be brought in by other teams? That's yet for us to find out.
Arguable,
of course, we're going to be seeing what we have much later on. And of course, we see other regions especially from the Philippines, who are really dominant as well. But now let's pass it to our host once again to hear from the victors of the previous match.
Thank you so much to all the casters here. Fantastic work here. It's been a long day, and of course, the first match of the day has just ended here in the MLBB World Championship M1, first ever here. And congratulations to RRQ for taking 2-0 against EVOS Esports. But here I have Tuturu and me. I gotta ask you here, how are you feeling about that match?
I'm feeling good. Fantastic. Thank you.
A little bit cold, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Too cold, man. It's not cold. It's too cold.
Well, is it, I gotta ask you this here, what do you think about that match? Was it like a little bit easy, or was it tough for you?
About easy lah. Easy, but more complicated. Complex. But we play like usual. Like bring them to our play style. That's it. Let it flow. When they how to say following our lead, it's gonna be so easy, man.
Well, let it flow like the inner chi, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
Tuturu, well, I like you. But I gotta ask you here, I like that. Anyways, I got for starters here, I know like the Masha pick here is kind of like a standard thing in the Indonesian scene here. Malaysian scene, not so much, but what about the Baxia pick? What was the reason behind the Baxia pick against that last series just now there?
It's a natural counter for the Hylos. So the Hylos can't regenerate
Easy.
Counter, easy.
Easy. So you're not gonna like force yourself to get like a endurance or anything. Just straight away go for that.
Nah. They're gonna play regen. We're gonna fight with regen.
Okay, very straightforward here. But before that, here, last things before I actually close off this segment here. What are your predictions here? You know, you've got 2-0 so far. You've got 2 more series to go later on. How many matches do you think you're gonna win?
Hopefully 6-0.
I like that from Tuturu. And thank you so much. Congratulations. Good luck further towards the next match coming up. And of course, for those of you guys watching at home as well, we're going to be taking a short break here. But before that, let's take a look at what the casters has to say. Take it away, casters.
It's great that he brought out about the backstep pick. And of course, Tutsuru just responded, great counter to the Halas. And indeed, it shows in that 2-0 victory that they just secured. So RRQ now, like you said, hot favorites of Group A. And with great confidence, he says 6-0 for this group.
I love his confidence. I love how comfortable he is playing, especially when he knows what he has to do. He knows he has to get his own lead, play their own style, and just make them, lead them on, lead EVOS on, and lead the rest of the teams on. And I think with that kind of confidence, it kind of gives a lot of RRQ fans hope that they are just going to easily go through with a 6-0.
That's right. It takes 2 to tango. That it does take one of them to take that lead, and it seems like RRQ is always that sort of leader of the pack. So of course, there's going to be more matchups coming real soon. So if you guys have blinked some of all these in some of all these moments, of course, then you might just check out some of these VODs in YouTube Gaming. And of course, for now, we're going to be taking a short break. And when we come back, we're going to bring you match number 2 coming shortly.
They told us that it's just a game. That nothing will ever come out of it. That it won't bring us fame or glory. That it won't make our country proud. They told us to stop wasting our time. Well, let them say all they want. We'll prove it to them. We'll be the champions. Mobile Legends Bang Bang World Championship 2019. M1.
You may have been denied. You may have hit rock bottom. You may have been craving for the lights. Now, all strive for one goal.
Taking that life of the Akai as well, there becomes the jump on the Emerald.
Put your hands together for the champion.
Do you have what it takes to be a champion worthy of the highest glory? may have hit rock bottom. You may have been craving for the lights. Now, all strive for one goal.
Taking that life of the Akai Asquare, pero biglang sa jump na Esperanza.
Put their heads together for the champion.
Do you have what it takes to be a champion worthy of the highest glory?
Its kind. I'm Brian Husky and I'm joined by the one and only Terrence Icy Baby 1-2 y'all.
Thank you for the amazing introduction here. And today we're going to be having exciting matches all the way through. Not to mention as well, to start things off, RRQ taking 2-0 against EVO's SG. That was something I did not expect to see at all. And my oh my, I agree with what Contra say. My oh my indeed. But I'm not sure if you guys watched the interview as well with me and Tuturu. We were having a little bit of a casual talk. It was kind of interesting as well. I know you were there listening as well. Like, I don't think I want to reveal some of my secrets. You know, like we have like a personal thing
personal
going
talk.
on.
But
Yeah, personal talk.
but Tuturu did sound really confident, right?
Oh,
After
yeah.
that 2-0, he said,
yeah.
when EVOS played into their playstyle, it was super easy. They've warmed up, and now they are getting ready for the second series as well against VEC Fantasy Main, all the way from Vietnam.
Oh yeah, and I think VEC Fantasy Main was with us as well. They were watching the games as well. They were kind of impressed with the first game itself, especially with how the God was playing here from San RRQ. I think it was Vin was playing it, was Lian was playing it as well, was just on point all the way through. His stunts was on point, their setup was great, and there were a couple of surprise ambushes which worked out really well with them. However, I have to mention as well our sponsor mentions as well, because as of now, I want you guys to understand, for those of you watching at home, remember to catch every battle here, because while you can stream like cray, get unlimited data for all apps with Gila Unlimited GX30 only with U Mobile.
Exactly, and I think from the get-go, from the very first game against EVOS RRQ, at first we were kind of questioning how is this lineup going to work. Is EVOS actually, will they roll over? Will they get that early advantage?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't work out in their way. RRQ I think we had a bit of discussion. Is RRQ playing this peeling for protect one? You point out for protect one, especially on the Kimi, and it worked out pretty well. The God, there was no way the Esmeralda could dive onto them. There was no way that EVOS could start a fight without putting their front line at risk. And you also off the broadcast say that maybe the Kaja is not enough. It's just a single tank. But we'll continue that discussion in a bit, because we do have the format video for you guys to check out what this is all about.
As M1 is just around the corner, let's take a look at how the group stage live draw format is going to work. The 16 participating teams of M1 will be sorted into 3 pools, with the first and second pool consisting of the MPL qualified teams and the third pool consisting of the M1 qualified teams. From the 3 pools, teams will then be randomly drawn into 4 groups, with each group consisting of 1 team from the first pool, 1 team from the second pool, and 2 teams from the third pool. Team EVOS Singapore will be automatically seeded into Group A due to the home ground advantage of winning MPL Malaysia Singapore Season 4. In each group, each team will play 3 best-of-3 round-robin matches. Placings will be determined through the point system, with 3 points awarded for a 2-0 match, 2 points for a 2-1 match, 1 point for a 1-2 match, and 0 points for a 0-2 match. With that, the top 2 teams of each group will proceed to the playoffs, with the first place teams in the upper bracket and the second place teams in the lower bracket. These 8 teams will then go through a best-of-3 double elimination format. Day 1. All 8 teams will play on the first day of the playoffs. All matches will be played in a best-of-3 format. Day 2. The lower bracket matches will be played in a best-of-3 format. The winner bracket finals will be played in best-of-5 format. Loser going into the lower bracket finals the next day. Day 3. The lower bracket finals will be played in a best-of-5 format as the starting match of the day. The grand finals will then be played in best-of-7 format. The upper bracket team will be given side pick priority first. And with that, the first ever world champion of Mobile Legends Bang Bang will be crowned. Tune in starting this 11th November to witness history being made.
Wow, that's a great introduction here. That's pretty much the format here for the M1 World Championship here. And you can see as well, Group A, Group B, Group C is a little bit different here, but there will be only one slot from Group A here. And today we are actually playing all the entire round robin here from the Group A leagues here. And RRQ, they are in the lead here with 2-0s, and now they're going to be facing up against VFM here. And if they take a 2-0 here, they're in a pretty comfortable spot here to actually make it towards the playoffs.
And there I say, if they take a 2-0 here right now, RRQ, they've already qualified for playoffs. And this is the scary part of how this group stage is going to work, right? Because you as a team, you're playing your entire tournament lives in a single day. We'll check out the schedules for today for those who just joined the broadcast. We did start out with RRQ against EVOS SG. They took it 2-0. Now we're at the second match. Match 2 of Group A. This is the best of 3 RRQ taking on VFM.
Oh yeah, and seeing how RRQ was able to take 2-0 very convincingly as well with the Basia and Masha pick here, I did not expect right off the bat here pocket strategies all the way through. We did see a lot of Masha picks here in the Indonesian scenes, right? Like for Malaysian scene, we don't see it too often. Even the MPL playoffs for Malaysia SG, we saw EVO's SG pick the Masha, but it just didn't exactly work out. But I liked how they actually played it just now from side RRQ, where they switch up between the 4 protect 1 strategy, sometimes being Masha being 1, sometimes leaving Kimi 1 here. So they switch very efficiently, which is super hard to keep up as well. But as of now, let's take a look at the prize pool of the entire tournament themselves.
Yeah, 250,000 USD total prize pool. The champion walking away with a big chunk. That's 80,000, and the rest as follows. And yeah, as long as you are in M1, you are already entitled to a prize pool, to some part of the cash, but of course, the end of the day, you want to get that champion. You want to go as far as you can and proclaim yourself as the kings of Mobile Legends.
Yeah, first ever World Championship title,
yeah,
right?
people all around the world. It's not just Southeast Asia. It's not just Latin America. This is across the globe.
Yeah, this is going to be tough here, especially now, especially from side EVO's Esports SG, right? They've just lost 2-0 against RRQ. That's pretty much 0 points for them, and they have like 2 more games later on. They themselves have to take like convincing 2-0s as well if they want to contest against RRQ, if and only if this game they take 2-0. You know, it feels like it's kind of stacked for us as well, where you just say like, hey, they're going to go for 2-0. But before we talk about the predictions and brackets as well, I want to talk about the hero drafts here. We know what RRQ is going to be drafting here. What are thoughts here from VFM?
Yeah,
VEC Fantasy main here from Vietnam.
Yeah, I think if we look at VEC, it's almost you do have the same hero pool. Like, it's obvious, maybe the Kimi, the carry, it's always going to be this same few picks. But if you kind of go down the list, right, you are actually looking at Minotaur for one of their players. T-Max plays a lot of Minotaur. You have the Terisla as well. You don't normally see that in Indonesia. And even when you look at game 1, the fact that RRQ played 2 different playstyle, 4-1 in game 1 and the 3-2 in game 2, that is surprisingly amazing. So if you kind of go like the Terisla, suddenly you cannot deal with the 4-1 and vice versa. But the draft is ready, so we're going to take a look at the draft and continue this discussion. Right off the bat, Kufra and Grok taken out just as what we predicted before this broadcast.
Yeah, pretty standard bans right here, but at the same time, will VFM actually ban off the Masha here, considering that they saw how RRQ was just such a beast with the Masha pick here. But at the same time, you know, if they ban the Masha here, it's going to leave things up, like the Xbox up for grabs. Same goes for the Kaja, which is kind of like a favorite pick for all these teams here. RRQ, they did prioritize the Kaja pick as well in game number 2 against EVO's SG. So in this case here, they have to choose their next ban properly here, because right now VFM here, they may consider just letting the Masha slide.
Yeah, you have to kind of make a choice right now. In game 2, in the first series, the reason that RRQ took out Masha was because that they don't have the first pick. So they were like, we're going to take Kaja for ourselves. They were the one who banned out Xbox twice in that first series, but this time VFM, they will do the favor. They will take out Xbox themselves.
Yep, first pick here coming from RRQ here. What's going to be the first pick here? What are they going to be banning here? Let's take a look here. Is going to be a ban Kaja here? Nope. Once again, they're going to be banned off the Masha. They just don't. I feel like RRQ just values Masha so high, and because of that reason here, maybe, you know, not many teams actually realize that how strong it is. But VFM, they're going to be starting us off with the Harif pick up. But at the same time, RRQ, they have the choice to actually go for Esmeralda pick as well. Yeah,
this is a good and a bad, right? I was expecting maybe a Kaja steal, maybe a Hylos for VEC, but they saw RRQ take out Harif in the third phase, and you know that VFM, they prioritize this Harif a lot. If not, they will kind of let it slide and hope that it goes to the third phase, which has not happened yet. So they were gonna prioritize that. But at the same time, they are sacrificing two really strong picks for RRQ. That is your front line completed for the Indonesian team.
Definitely here, but at the same time here, VEC, what are they going to do here? Because as of now here, pretty much their support, they have to play around the Kairos as well as Kaja, especially on the front line. Do they actually, take RRQ's advice and just pick the Barca as well, considering that, early on we did, Tutu did mention as well that, hey, come on, Barca is like a natural counter for the Kairos, or are they going to force, like, the Harif to actually go in towards the necklace of Durance here coming from VEC?
Yeah, I think if you're looking at VFM right now, the Boxer kind of looks tasty as a pick, but you are looking for the damage output. Right? You have Badang, you have Harif. Where is that physical element? And if you kind of pick Boxer in, you're boxing your last pick to be probably a marksman. You're looking at a carry to kind of bust through the tanks on the side of RRQ, and like you mentioned, the Esmeralda instantly picked up, no question at all. There was no hesitation with that particular choice.
I like how VEC still has that flexibility pick here, where you say like, hey, I pick a Badang here. Do we still go for a tank? Is it going to be a support Badang, or is it going to be an off-lane Badang? Which is what some of the teams may think here. But RRQ, I feel like they're not actually worried about a Badang pick here. Seeing how the previous game Reavers SG, we saw how they played around the Badang as well. The Boxer was just out of control. Now the Esmeralda being picked up as well. Harif is not going to have a great time, and I feel like maybe VEC here is gonna struggle a little bit to try to deal with this Esmeralda later on. Without Hylos, Arkai is a great counter, but Badang is also okay just for the burst output here. We've seen, I think, previously in the Malaysian scene, where GigFam just played the Badang support, just did so well against Esmeralda. But that's the thing, that's the flex pick there. Is it gonna be a support Badang, or is it gonna be off lane here? But it seems to me RRQ, they're going for the Hellcat pick, and I believe they actually won themselves a lot of win rate, pretty high win rate, with the Hellcat pick.
Yeah, it's not just a Hellcat pick. They also took out Baxia. Like, during the interview that you conducted just now, he said Baxia direct counter to Hylos. Hylos, and VFM, if you don't take Baxia, guess what? We will eliminate Baxia. We secure ourselves Hellcat. Suddenly, the marksmen don't sound as juicy as they were anymore. And if you're VFM right now, if this Valet gets locked in, that is a lot of magical damage. You are pitting on that early to mid phase. The Claude will be the safer pick, the safest pick. But again, that Hellcat might be the depth trap that RRQ has set up, and VFM, they can lock those two in.
Wow, a Valer pickup here. So they're going to be going for a double mage setup here with one of the Cloud. Okay, wait, this is going to be a support Valer. This is going to be a support Valer here, followed by, I think, a off-lane Badang.
Yeah, and
should be.
I like the Granger pick for RRQ as well. I was thinking maybe for VFM, you need someone, some marksman who has a mobility, either the Cloud, either the carry, but they feel more comfortable with the Cloud simply because it's slightly safer, unlike the carry, which you kind of need time to come online, and other than that, it's easier to kind of get picked off. So VFM going the safer route, and that means RRQ, they can be very bold. They already had the Hellcat, they already went for the Esmeralda, they're going to finish it off with the Granger. That is a robust lineup coming into this first game.
Oh yeah, speaking of which here, based on the draft as well, I like how they have a lot of flexibility here, but in honesty, I feel like I like RRQ's draft a little bit more just because it's easier to play compared to what VFM has in store. But at the same time, Valer is kind of the support, the hero where you can actually have a flex pick here. Most of the times you see it a lot on mage here. It got a little bit nerfed, but at the same time, bring it as a support here, it's something you do not expect a lot because he just harasses you from really, really safe distance as well. The stun really sets up for a lot of things as well coming from VFM. So I'm a little bit curious to see how well they're going to be playing the early phase of the game.
Yeah, especially when you have to kind of buy time for the clock, right? And that's where Badang kind of comes into place. Either the Badang or the Valer. The Arkai is going to be moving around simply because you have that Hellcat. You need to keep that Hellcat away from your team. And if RRQ gets a few pickouts on that Cloud, you are not going to expect this marksman to do anything effective. And
yeah, that's the thing. When you brought up the point as well, I like how you mentioned as well that, hey, they were trying to buy time for the Cloud, right? I feel like the Cloud is going to have a really tough time just because they have the Hellcat to worry about. If you think about it here, Hellcat, is kind of like one of the fastest assassin in the game as well, where he has so much mobility, kind of similar to how RQ played the Masha pick early on, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was super hard to catch, and it feels like, yes, you have the Archive, it's great, but if you focus on the Hellcat there's also other heroes that you got to worry about here. The sustainability is coming from Hylos as well, which is kind of going to be one of the key factor, but that's just in theory crafting here. But let's take a look at how they're going to be playing here, because I might be proven wrong coming from Vietnamese teams here. But ladies and gentlemen, here, this is game number 1 here in the second series for today's matchup in Group A's group stages here. VEC Fantasy Main on the blue side, and of course RRQ will be on the red side here.
yeah, and VFM, they have a big task to do. They need to upset RRQ to make sure that RRQ doesn't just simply lock in that playoff spot and of course gain themselves some point. But of course RRQ, with that strong start, they have warmed up. This is VFM's first game, and from the draft, from the get-go, it felt like RRQ slightly outdrafted them.
Not necessarily here. It's all about execution here. But in this case, let's take a look how they're going to be playing as a win. They're going to be taking a little bit damage here. However, they're pretty much half HP here from side RRQ. So going to be contesting the gold buff for themselves here. But seeing how they wooden mask here, we see double wooden mask coming from RRQ. Same goes for VEC Fantasy Main. So nothing too much out of ordinary. But well, they're going to be respecting each other's territory. Nothing too much of an aggressive plays coming in from both these teams.
Yeah, and immediately VFM decides, let's put Harry bot, let's set the Cloud mid. This guy needs the resources, we need to make space for him, and the best way is to give him that solo lane. Give him that extra experience, give him that buff, whatever that we can to funnel to get this Cloud online as soon as possible, because VFM, they are playing against the ticking time bomb. RRQ, yeah, just waiting for this Hauke to hit level 4, and then he'll start striking.
Yeah, our bottom side here, we see a little bit of contestments here. We're going to be cutting a creep wave here, and I'm pretty sure that VEFM here, they want to control the tempo and just try and go a couple of aggressive plays here. However, RRQ, look at this. We see rotations coming from Jago already setting up near the outskirts of the turtle pit, and they are trying to go for the wraparound, trying to fight against this team here coming from VFM.
Yeah, VFM, they want to commit to this tower, but RRQ is here to go for the defense. Jago is here, jumps in the tree, doesn't get a kill, but they defend that structure.
Yep, nice disengagement here coming from VFM. They tried to go for a commitment here, but RRQ managed to stop them in the track, which is really nice. Zaman Force was kind of baited out as well. This is going to buy a little bit of time here for RRQ to get up those farms here, especially from the side of Jago. But hold that thought for now. Brawly, will he get scouted out? He might be in some trouble, but he's going to be fine.
Yeah, and the rest of RRQ, they are coming, like you mentioned, they're setting up the turret. They stalled out that tower for a bit longer, and now VFM, they managed to get a tower. They're committing to the turret, but guess what? RRQ gonna strike. The lights gets turned off, and immediately they're gonna pounce in, try to go to the first blood. Lucky will take another value out of the picture, but High will be able to beat that front line for now. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but RRQ seems like they've isolated High, and High has nowhere to go. Double kill for the Hellcat, and RRQ, they want to go for more. They smell blood in the air. Team X has to jump away. VFM, they concede 2 kills, and they will concede the turtle as well.
Nicely done here coming from RRQ, and it's not over yet here because T-Max is going to get dived out. He's got no Hurricane Dance, and he will get bursted down, unfortunately here. And Teeny is trying to go for a big wombo combo here, but let's take a look at the replays here because I like this play coming from RRQ. Pay attention to this here. They immediately focus on the support, and not to mention as well, Sin on the Hellcat was cutting off the backlines here. They knew that Akai did not have that Hurricane Dance. They pressured him and took him down, which was very nice. And a little bit unfortunate for VFM as well, if you pay attention, because Cloud did not exactly have mana to work with in that team fight.
Yeah, and the best part was the moment Sin saw that opportunity, he didn't just get the first blood. After that first blood, he jumped right to the back line. Like you mentioned, he got the AoE silence off. No, this is the problem with Cloud, right? You need to buy time, but all this early fight is just going to stop him when this Hellcat is so huge. RQ, 4 kills in a row, gets the turtle and gets the tier 1. Sin's just gonna get away. Teeny is 3 levels behind. There's no way you're catching this Hellcat anytime soon.
Yeah, saving up the... You mentioned about the Cloud as well, buying a little bit of time. He needs those items, especially the Golden Staff and the Demon Eater Sword. But building up those stacks to transition into a blazing duet, that's gonna be the key component here. And it's not going to be an easy thing to actually pull it off, but RRQ, they seem to realize that as well. That's why they always send Sin to cut the backlines, but as of now, Sin is 3-0-1 on the Hellcat coming from RRQ, and it's not over yet. Oh!
And this time, VFM, they want to strike back. The Grand Girl is there. That is Sonata, but not able to help out his teammate. They will lose 1 to VFM.
Yeah, 2 times in a row here coming from Win, getting taken off here. Good catch there coming from VFM, but it's only a support there. The key one is going here, and Sin getting a solo kill on Cloud, and that's going to be unfortunate there. And he's got 4-0-1 right now.
And this is the nightmare that we've been talking about for VFM. They're playing on taking time moment. This 4-0 on Sin has just accelerated that critical mass period. VFM, they need to somehow buy more time, and we keep repeating they have to buy time, they have to make space, but space is being constricted because RRQ are getting all these objectives across the map.
Yeah, I agree. And Sin as well, because he went for the high and dry as emblem, right? As alone himself, this Helker is going to be able to take down any hero from the side of VFM, especially if they're alone here. That's exactly how the Cloud die. But now, once again, the turtle will be secure from the side of RRQ. This time, Iojago wants to pick a fight here. They're going to try and lead the charge with this Esmeralda. Will they actually catch any members from the side of VFM? But VFM, they're playing on the retreat here. They're losing the economy at least 4k deficit here, coming from VFM and RRQ.
And just perfect game sense from RRQ. Sin, he saw VFM pull off a collapse in the middle lane, realizes, okay, the front line, they're all gone from the side, from the blue side. Claude is definitely isolated. Let me just go and pick him up. And that's what happened that led to Claude's death. Now it's going to be RRQ again gaining the lead. They're going to extend this goalie as much as they can. They're not in a rush. They already hit that critical mass earlier than expected. Now Kai's going to get the pull as well. Lucky, not so lucky this time. Hylos will be the one taking that out.
Yeah, nice divine judgment there coming from RRQ, catching off Lucky, like you said as well. But it's like I said, you know, the Cloud needs more items. Divine item up already. Cloud. Broly's gonna go lead the charge here. How do we do this here?
And they're gonna fight this. Harif, he's doing his best. Hyde will not be able to get any kill onto Liam. This Hylos is pretty much unkillable at this point. You need more commitment. Thank God that Sin was not there, but even so, it kind of proved that how RRQ are so far ahead that VFM just was ineffective against them, and because of that, Sin again making space. You're kind of playing like they're trying to play like this Marsha 4-1 composition, even though it's not the Marsha, but because again Sin has such a big lead, he can go across the map. And VFM, they cannot just send one guy to deal with this Helker. They need 2 or 3, and you need to make sure you keep this Cloud out of the business.
Yeah, definitely here. Speaking of out of business here, because I feel like they have a lot to worry about here. Because right now, who should they focus? Is it going to be Esmeralda or is it going to be the Helker here? And right now, because they were confused in this kind of confusions here, it's hard to make a decision here. It's all down towards how T-Max is going to be able to pull things out from side VFM, especially from the Akai itself. The Hurricane Dust is going to be the key crucial component to open the entire gameplay or tempo from the side of VFM. Yeah, and they need one solid comeback here. And now another turtle buff heading towards RRQ now.
RRQ making it look easy, and it's not just the Archive. The Valiant now plays another crucial role because of that knockback. You kind of had to start playing the Pew game. The Cloud cannot just jump in with that ultimate and start spinning and hope to get a kill. That is not going to work against RRQ simply because of the imminent threat of Helker. He's going to constantly search for this Cloud, constantly search for this Broly, and again, they are not in a rush. We're 7 minutes in. RRQ, they're taking it slow. Wait for the Lord to come back, then that is where RRQ will pull off the next push, the next big strike.
Yeah, speaking of next big strike here, T-Max, he needs those fights here. RRQ, they're lying in wait, they're camping their way through, hoping to catch a couple of mistakes here, and you can see they're setting up shop from RRQ, and VFM, you can see as well on the bottom, on the mini side of the map as well, you can see Lucky on the volley was just a little bit scared to actually push too far off, but now they scout this out here. Will they catch off Lucky again? This is a goal. He goes in. Ooh, gets pushed back. He's going to be fine. Falling Star Moon as well. T-Max going for the Hurricane Dance. He's going to connect on one here. He will get the Sin here, but that's going to be Helga. And a big spin. Ultimate here coming from Arda. Connects on the dot, but it's going to be enough to revitalize from Liam. Keeps him alive. They take down the Archive, but unfortunately, VFM, they lose 3. They lose 2. RRQ is so far ahead right now, and they can't seem to be taken down by VFM.
Yeah, Broly is the last man alive trying to get away, and he will be able to buy time for his team, but like you say, RRQ with the lead, they had the item advantage. They were ready for that. That was the best fight that VFM could have gotten, and they were not able to close out that fight, and now it's Broly. He's just going to keep running from RRQ, and the rest of his team, they just respawn.
Yeah, he has to buy a little bit of time here because probably he needs more items. He want to hit so much damage. You saw the Blazing Duet. He did almost nothing here, but a clutch revitalize from Liam here on that Hylos was the one that set the tempo for the team. Blazing Duet getting forced out. Iron Jungle getting baited for the falling star here. But Brawley, he's trying to buy a little bit of time here for VFM, but unfortunately, he gets taken down. What were you thinking? Nice juke there, but bottom of the space for bottom side here for the Badang to actually get some farm from the side of VFM.
Yeah, that was the best case scenario for VFM. From that team fight onwards, everything fell into place, but you say the critical revitalized save RRQ in that fight, and they managed to get 4 in return. Brawley, great mechanical display, but just the deficit alone allowed RRQ to not be afraid of him. You can see Esmeralda, I am Jago, just, wow, you want to shoot me? I'm just going to let you shoot me and I'll finish you off. Sin was on the way as well, so there's no way that Brawley can get out of that. But the time bot, not really sure if this is enough for VFM because we're looking at a 10k goal lead for
exactly.
RRQ.
It's not going to be enough here because right now RRQ, they are in at least 1 or 2 core, 1.5 core items here for all of these players, especially every single hero from side RRQ. And I'm not too sure how VFM is going to be able to punish this here. They need to get a nice pick off again, and taking Sin was going to be a great target for them. Same goes for I Am Jago, but can they take it? Do they have enough damage to take them down? That's going to be a question here because now they have like mages, they have a lot of lockdowns here. Harif needs to carve up online, and they need the counter as well.
And they get the pull.
Very low. Ooh!
Instant pull, killing off the Violet. That is the Lord. RRQ. They did this exact same trick against Evos just now in that second game where this Kaja is literally ripping the enemies apart. Vin was on point with all those ultimates. Divine Judgment on the right target, and because of that, without the Violet, you lost that one member. That one extra member that can help you peel, that can help keep this marksman alive. With Lord now summoned, VFM, they have to hold this 4v5.
Yeah, very nicely done here. And now the Lord is going to be knocking, appearing from the top side of the lane here. And RRQ, they're just going to gatekeep the guys from VFM. They do not want to give them any sort of buffs here. They're going to try to steal the buffs as well. You can see even Tuturu stealing the top buff from the side of VFM. And the itemization-wise, with Golden Staff is pretty much out of Cloud and Badang as well. How do you fight this though?
Yeah, 12k goal lead for RRQ. The biggest goalie that we've seen so far amassed by a team, and even though this is just the first day impressive performance from the Indonesian squad, and go for that first inhibitor. It's going to be VFM trying to make something happen. There go Team X goes in for the Hurricane Dash. He does get 4 targets, but the damage isn't enough. Harry will find one. They force RRQ to retreat, but the Lord is already in the base. Vin managing to get that top inhibitor. VFM, they saw this out for now, but the damage is done by RRQ.
Good defense there coming from VFM as well. What a huge out there coming from Teeny as well. Did the damage on, but once again, Liam with the clutch revitalize. He can't be taken down. They lost one member, but that's about it. And VFM, they need to slowly but surely drag this out fight here. But look at this. One big ultimate here. Everyone was so low. The revitalize there keep him alive, but everyone backed out alive.
Yeah, Team X needed that Hurricane Death, and he got it perfect onto Vin, the Kaja. That hero could have been the Vin could have been the guy to end it off of VFM. So VFM bought themselves some more time to stay alive in game 1, but the odds are still stacked against them.
Yeah, definitely here, but like you said as well, the Lord knocked down. They lost 1 tier 3s up top here, but VFM, if they drag this ultra late game here, the Badang and Cloud is going to come up online. As compared to Granger, it doesn't really do as much as compared to what Cloud and Badang is going to be offering in terms of overall damage output towards the ultra late game. And Tuturu, they know they want to end this game here. They're going to go force out another BOD, but look at this, the fight.
And this is what VFC want to do. You're starting to see this Cloud being a bit more efficient. And if you put aside the mistake from Team X who try to contest the dragon, the turtle without that Hurricane Dance, it is all a bit better for VEC Fantasy main, but for RRQ, they are still on his tails.
That's a crucial item here coming from VFM. Divine Glaive up onto its height already on that Harif, and the Harif is going to pop up a little bit more. And Tuturu also getting the second Blade of Despair as well in this next team fight. This is going to be a crucial fight here coming from VFM and RRQ, and they have the dominance eyes on Liam just to try a little bit of slow to actually buy time for the team to actually snowball their way through. But VFM, they just need that one lucky hero. It's either Zin, Tuturu, or even I Am Jungle to get picks off first. This is where they will slowly make their comeback, if and only if they pull it off.
And this is where T-Max and Teeny need to make the same magic trick again. They need to go Houdini once more, but this time they can't just get Vin. They can't just get one member from RQ. They need to get the cost. They need to at least be able to kill off half of RQ to even have a chance of staying alive. And with the all stagnant, and right now with how things are, Tuturu is just going to continue the split push on the top side of the map, and VFM, they are far away from base. This is where RQ can consider collapsing on them, but luckily Sin is not around just yet.
Oh, they have Immortal Arm Liam. They're not afraid here, but unfortunately, the buff actually gets stolen. Oh no. VFM, they needed that buff here if they want the win the next 2 team fights here. And RQ,
but they found someone.
Here, but Hurricane Dance.
And it's going to be VFM pulling the trigger once more. They're going to go for Vin. Vin somehow survives to revitalize Liam in everyone, but there is it! Vin and Esmeralda will kill off 2 members of VFM while the rest of RRQ stay alive. They find the fight that they need, and guess what? This is the second Lord for RRQ.
Oh, nicely done there from RRQ. Great attempt there with the Hurricane Dance, but unfortunately, it was just too hard to fight here. The Helker is just too great to go. Divine Judgment on Bright Wind here, but he doesn't care. He's got an Immortal. He can tank the tower. Why not? Worth it here. Tuturu gonna poke the tier 3s, and slowly but surely, they take the Lord as well. RRQ, they're thinking about closing the game, but Tuturu, oh!
Wow!
The Death Sonata from Tuturu. Here comes Iron Jago. He wants more. Tier 3s are down. Another one in the middle. VFM, how will they defend this? Lucky and Teeny still alive, but the Crystal is gonna be game. RRQ takes game number 1 in this second series.
Yeah, you give them a step, they will take it 10 miles, and RQ, all they needed was that one crucial fight. We talk about VFM, they got some good engage, but it was all because of the deficit that they suffered early on, that they were never able to win those fights. If we even out the goal score, maybe VFM would have taken those fights convincingly, but it's just the deficit that RQ has been able to establish since the get-go.
Yeah, the understanding how you're being pulled from RQ was just amazingly ridiculous, because you know we always talk about, hey, which team, whoever team who gets that pre-fork will always have that jump, and they understood that, hey, earlier on in the first engagement in the, I think it's gonna be on the highlights later on as well, where Arkai did not exactly have a 4, they just jumped him. They just went in uncontested, like, hey, no one can touch this Helker, which is ridiculous here coming from Sin. If you think about it here, I'm surprised Sin is like what 5 on silver, 8.2. He was one of the earliest players here from the side of RQ who just get this huge lead all by himself, getting solo kills after solo kills. I am jungle, followed by later on with 607. He's great. He's got a lot of farm here, but this wasn't like, it was like the Esmeralda Sin show a little bit, but it was a team effort here coming from RQ. Everyone played their roles perfectly, and there was just nothing VIC could have done.
Yeah, and we have to give credit to Liam as well on that high loss. Just amazing. Amazing reaction, amazing skills to protect the rest of his team. The revitalize, we've seen it a couple of times to keep the team alive in all these crucial fights. VFM, they find the Dreaming Cage. Team has got the great Hurricane Dance. If Teeny coming in with the Badang out high, somehow was able to do all those, deliver all those damage, but all because of one high loss.
Yeah.
And VFM were not able to get anything in return.
Yeah, this was the fight I was talking about as well. Early on, you saw how Sin just cut the backlines, just put T-Max as well as the Cloud just at bay from side VFM, and because of that, they were able to safely contest Turtle, and you can see everyone's kind of at a disarray as well, VFM, ever since they lost the 2 main players from the side of VFM, and from that on, it was all snowballs after snowballs. They got a couple of lucky kills, but like you said, it's always been on towards the Kaja. You want to kill the core heroes, but not just supports, and it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, and T-Max, despite that early turtle mishap, you can see that he has been trying to start all this fight. This was the fight that it felt like a dream for VFM, but it's just RRQ with that amazing reaction and the lead. Liam somehow able to keep everyone alive, getting RRQ the first big team fight win.
Yeah, I think the Revitalize is kind of broken as well in this current meta, just because the high loss ultimate just gives you so much heal. Revitalize, you can pop it despite getting stunned or knocked out, which is kind of ridiculous. And see, again, the Revitalize is proving to be such a big nuisance here, but eventually the last team fight here, that was where VAC, they had to bow out, because why? I Am Jago and Sin was always in a position where they could not get caught off, and that was where what VFM has been struggling throughout the entire game, which is kind of unfortunate. But overall, in general here, congratulations RRQ, taking another win here. 3 wins so far. Every game, RRQ.
Yeah, and all they need, if they manage to close this out, they're literally 1 game away from that playoff spot. And it felt really short, it felt really quick, 2 hours in, but RRQ, they have shown such dominance. They can, if you want them to play bloodthirsty, they will. If you want them to play patient, they showed us patience.
Well, it's not going to be over yet here, because at the same time, Evos will also have their chance to go for a clean 2-0. But RRQ, now, they've got 3 wins here. Can they get the next one? I'm not too sure, but as of now, they look pretty done ready here.
Yeah, and if you look at VEC Fantasy Main right now, they have to be thinking to themselves,
Oh yeah.
what did we do wrong? We put off a lot. We put off a lot of good fights. We've seen the engage from T-Max. Those were perfect. That was possibly the best.
Yeah.
The best initiation you could hope for, and somehow RQ managed to beat them at their own game. And VEC Fantasy Main, you need to kind of reiterate and redirect how you're gonna play the rest of the game.
Yeah, speaking of the rest of games as well, I think that in terms of draft-wise, they need some kind of a thing to actually do with the high lows here. I think they would answer the answer coming from RRQ. They were kind of they had this answer where, hey, you know, how do we do a high lows?
Yeah.
We had a Baxia done. But you can see how VFM, they did not exactly have an answer to it. Like, you saw how they were just focusing on towards the Revitalize. Yes, the Badang initially was for Esmeralda, but now, when they put the Badang to commit into the high loss as well, where's the damage output? You saw a couple engagements as well. Which do you focus? You focus the high loss, or do you focus Esmeralda? You pick one, you're going to let the other one kind of like roam free.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfortunate though.
And it felt like the Badang was... they kind of picked the Badang a bit too early because...
Oh, yeah.
RRQ, they banned out Baxia simply because VFM didn't pick Baxia.
They banned out Marsha, sorry.
They banned Marsha, but
yeah.
the third phase, you know, after Badang picked, Baxia was banned out. And if VFM went for Baxia, I doubt that RRQ would ban out Badang. They would ban out probably the Tamus instead. And this is just a prioritization for VFM that did not work out for them.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to see how they're going to be gathering themselves here, because game one, they put all their eggs on towards T-Max as well, to just try to go for a perfect setup as well. And lucky, well, on that Valer, I don't know, like, it did not work out for me. Like, we know the support Valer is amazing for in terms of roaming rotation, but you being the front lines getting cut off, that's gonna be a tough thing to do. And I feel like they were constantly getting, how do I put it, getting caught off in a way. Like, you know, they had no answer most of the times as well. Especially when the fight begins from side RQ, when the Darkness Falls comes in, they were kind of disarrayed, kind of lost. What do we do? They could not pass the spells, and especially from the side of Harif as well, was one of the greatest counters, just because, like, hey, when Darkness comes in, Harif, despite the Zaman Force, what are you going to do? You can't hit anything unless you're side by side, and if you're side by side a hero like Esmeralda, you're going to get shredded off. Side by side next to a Hellcut, you're going to get silenced and shredded off. Yeah. Side by side next to a High Loss, yeah, you're not going to touch him here, but it's a high loss. How are you going to kill it?
Yeah, you're not going to kill the high loss in any way. And the Hellcut was actually the 4th pick for RRQ. And right after the Hellcut, VFM, they went straight for the Cloud and Valia, which on paper makes sense. Cloud, you have the mobility of Valia. The pushback sounds really great, right? But again, because of the lead that Sin got off of one turtle fight, there was no way that your cores can escape, beat the support, beat the tank. T-Max was way too busy. T-Max and team were way too busy trying to assassinate, trying to keep the cores from RQ away from VFM. And during that process, they basically did not have resources to allocate to the Hellcut.
Yeah, the Hellcut is one thing, you know. I'm a little bit curious to see how they are going to be playing the next game here, because why they seem to be getting ready here before they actually head towards the second game of the drafts here. I'm pretty sure they are going to be gathering some thoughts here. They need to figure out, it's their tournament lives, representing their country in the World Cup. They are in it to win it. Will they be able to pull it off against the Kings of Kings, RRQ?
Yeah, and if we kind of look back to the statistic or the information we have about VFM, right? Their hero pool is slightly different compared to what RQ have, and maybe this game, maybe they want to pull out something that they're more comfortable with. We've seen the Minotaur was in T-Max's pool. He did play the Archive, which was also one of his most played hero, but they might want to switch it up this time.
Oh yeah, they may consider bringing in the Roger pick as well. I think, like, the reason why I said the Roger pick as well, like, I know it's a little bit off meta, but there are a couple of games here where VFM actually brought in the Roger pick, which worked out, because if you pay attention to those RRQ and VFM, right? VFM is kind of the teams that they love those hyper aggressive kind of plays. But in that game, in game number 1, RRQ was the one on the aggressive plays, whereas RRQ, they usually play a very patient aggression kind of playstyle where they love to camp and set up a lot of ambushes here, which exactly happened. You saw how long they were just at a stalemate here, waiting in the bush, waiting for right moment. They were super patient. They don't really care about the quick waves. All they gotta do is just, like, have their front lines just camping one of the bushes here, VFM, and wait and wait and wait. You saw how the Hylos was just, like, in front. Hey, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Okay, let's just wait. VFM comes out. And they did, like, a good solid, like, 3-4 minutes of, like,
VFM is not coming. We will take the fight to them. And,
Oh, yeah.
And he did. And also, I think we had an agreement before this that this is a different RQ, and it's different in a good way. They are bringing a more playstyle. Previously, it's RQ, like you mentioned, they hide in the dark, they wait, they were a bit conservative, they wait for the fight to come and then they react. But Series 1, we saw a 4-1 RQ. Series 2, we saw a 3-2 RQ, and suddenly in Game 1 of this series, we saw an RQ that is just in your face.
Oh yeah, like they're super flexible in terms of drops as well. And I just by these 3 games, like RQ has already opened up hero pools that are so flexible that you can't ban them all. With 6 total bans in the game, you can't ban them all.
Yeah, especially you have to allocate some of the bans to the most meta, your Grok, your Kufra, which everyone just does not want to deal with. And you mentioned the Roger pick, and I also want to bring up a few more picks. Selena and Halkett was also in the hero pool of VFM, especially Hyde as well. He did play the Selena, the Harif, the Valia, and Broly went for the Cloud, which was in the hero pool as well. Halkett is also one of the choices. So again, they kind of lost against the picks that they are familiar with, which is totally fine because RQ is one of the strongest team in their region.
Yeah.
But this game, they cannot drop it. They have to at least get 1 point to have a better chance of staying alive.
Yeah, speaking of the 1 point as well, I think when you brought up the hero pool here, I'm pretty sure at the world stages here, every single team has their signature hero, but most of the mainstream heroes here, every team can kind of play it here. Halkett is going to be like a semi-mainstream kind of pick here where you see a lot of teams tentatively actually learn how to play. When you say like VFM, hey, they have that Selena pick, they have the Halkett pick here. Selena is kind of like an aggressive playstyle, but I feel like yeah, VFM is super aggressive, but I'm pretty sure RQ has an answer to that as well. Just because like they want the first trendsetters here to actually just like first wave instead of just going to group waves here, diving towards enemy buffs here, alongside the Kimi as well. But unfortunately, say the Kimi was kind of banned off in that phase out, and I wasn't expecting it to be banned. Like I was hoping like, hey, let the Kimi slide, let's find a way to actually deal with it.
Yeah, and I think the priority will kind of still stay away. Kimi will still be out of the spotlight for now because of we have limited bans, 6 bans in total. And if you are VFM right now, maybe you can consider picking up the Kimi because you definitely have a player that can play Kimi, then hey, has to be able to play Kimi. Same with RQ, but in that previous game, RQ, you can see that because of the fact that they didn't pick Kimi, it means that they have a flexible hero pool. But the draft is ready. This is the second game of this best of 3 RQ. They just need 1 more for another 3 points in the bag.
Let's take a look at the drafts here. Masha going to be first ban coming from RRQ here. So it seems to me very similar drafts coming from all 3 games coming from RRQ that has been played here. Xbox will be followed by from the side of VFM. And what are they going to do? Are they going to be banning off the Xbox once again? No, actually, sorry. Banning off the Kufra or Grok?
I think it's the Kufra and Grok is the 2 most obvious one. Unless VFM decides, okay, maybe the biggest problem is the hideouts. Then the hideouts can be in consideration as well. I don't think you need to kind of prioritize the Kaja that much in banning him. You can always take him, but RQ, they would take out Kaja themselves.
Yeah, Kaja being banned here. So Kufra is kind of going to be out in the open as well. Maybe the Kufra or the Grok. But Grok has been nerfed a little bit here, but as a frontline annoying tank, it's still one of in-your-face kind of tank heroes where a lot of teams is going to be prioritized first pick here. So if you let the Grok slide, you let the Kufra slide here, you may consider opening things up like what? The Esmeralda. Nah, Esmeralda is pretty much going to be open anyway. What are the heroes? Cho is kind of open as well, but I'm surprised no one actually banned off the Cho or picked it.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem to be in the meta for some of these players.
One thing about RQ is I love this Kaja ban for 2 reasons. First of all, RQ, they have the first pick, so they know that they can go for anyone other than Kaja. And because they have priority to pick, Kaja would be the natural go-to second pick, right? By banning out the Kaja, you're forcing VFM to not have that to not have that backup, to not have priority of the first pick. And RQ, they should be locking in this Grok instantly. Kufra is available, but it doesn't sound as juicy as it used to be.
Yeah, no, I have to disagree. Kufra is like a really, really strong tank, regardless or not. You know, ever since it came out until now, I've always thought that it is a strong hero. Even now they took a huge nerf, it's still one of the top picks here from most of these teams. But like you said, it might not happen. But yeah, sorry, it has to be first pick. It has to be.
Nice.
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda.
Okay.
And
yeah, it makes sense for Esmeralda.
It does make sense.
It definitely makes sense just because the Hido is kind of out on the pool as well. Not many heroes can actually deal with it here. But RQ, they have a little bit of flex pool as well. I've seen a couple games where RQ, they actually play the Kagura on the mage role. If you don't exactly want a Harif pick here, because Harif's shield kind of like gets negated from all this shield burst, or maybe even the burst coming from Esmeralda themselves. So I'm not too sure exactly if they want to poke it off, but they're gonna keep it out and open here. But now Lolita getting picked off here, so Kimi is gonna be kind of denied here from RQ, considering that they picked off the carry already.
Yeah, and great block pick from VFM as well. And I like the fact that you bring up Kagura, because Lemon from RQ is the one that is the top Kagura in the region. Since that he won't be playing today, it's totally fine. RQ still have that in their pocket if they want to bring it out. But that Lolita pick, RQ, they picked Lolita in game 2 against Evos. So now they're gonna go up against the same pick that is denying that Kimi that we expect to come out. And because of that Lolita, RQ says we're not giving you Granger because it is such an it's going to be an obvious pick for VFM if it goes through.
Yeah, the Granger pick will be really nice here. Good smart ban there coming from RQ, just because the Lolita is kind of in the favor of VFM. They don't exactly have an answer or counter to actually block off some of the bullets coming from Granger. But if they force VFM to go for the Cloud again, I'm pretty sure RQ has an answer for that. And Helker is kind of still in the pool as well. They didn't exactly show their offlane pick from side RQ. So they have the flexibility coming from Sin's drafts, especially from Sin's draft, and also I Am Jago's draft, where they can play most of the assassins off-lane roles, and also from the mid role here coming from RQ. So I feel like the mind games is going to be in the factor here, but VFM, seems to me, they're going to be prioritizing on the Tamus pick here. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Hellcut pick once again, but it's going to be tough, because the Kufra is in the picture now.
Yeah, and Hellcut would not seem to be such a juicy pick, at least for RQ. The Tamus ban, same as last game, you don't want to deal with this really strong solo lane fighter, and just not ideal. And Leomord, I did have this hero on my mind for VFM simply because last game it did not go well at all for them in any of the lanes. Leomord is one of the safer picks, has minimal counters minimal heroes, able to survive through the early to mid phase regardless of the situation, and has decent scaling.
Yeah, the Phantom Steed is going to be one of those teams that are going to be focused about as well. I like how they ban up the Tamus. RQ is going to be figuring out how do we deal with this with this Leomord here. Seems to me it's going to be the Badang God special. We are talking about some wombo combos coming from RQ, and I like how the Badang can kind of shut off the Leomord a little bit here. Early phase is not that great here, but into the mid to late game here, if you're worried about a Phantom Steed here, why not just burst him down on the spot then and there?
Yeah, and because of that, Gords, now Liam poses an extra layer of threat, right? You have Vin, you have Liam, these two frontliners. One, they can both split you apart. And sure, you have the Kufra, Esmeralda, Lolita, they all sound really juicy, Phantom Steed on the Leomord. But this Gord alone basically shuts down what VFM might try to do, because none of them have the mobility. Maybe the Esmeralda, maybe the Leomord, but even so, with Grog and Akai in the picture in the favor of RRQ, it's not going to look easy for VFM.
Yep, double mage setup here coming from EFM, but at the same time here, I'm a little bit worried here from RRQ, just because the God doesn't exactly have a lot of mobility. You have a lot of burst damage potential and range here, but if you think about it, VFM has heroes that can dive the backlines. We have the Hari, we have the Leomord, we have the Esmeralda, we have the Kufra as well. One wrong move from RRQ, things will go south immediately here. So this is going to be one of the best chances here for VFM to try and take the win against RRQ.
Yeah, and all eyes will be on Teeny and T-Max again, both the Teeny, especially on the Lolita. We've seen RQ pull up an amazing Lolita game. This is now VFM's chance to probably bring this back.
Definitely. And Retribution up on Harif as well. So this is where VFM is going to try and contest some of those total buffs or maybe the steals here. Whereas RQ is going to be focused on those kind of team fights where they're going to force themselves that, hey, we need to win every single team fight. We don't need objectives. We don't need steal here. Kill them all, take the objectives for themselves.
Yeah, and this is a complete reversal in roles. Last game, VFM, they picked the team fight composition. They were the one who starting the fights to look really flashy, colors flying everywhere. It seems like the health bars from RQ were dropping, but we mentioned it time and time again, RQ pulled back because of that amazing lead that they got. This time, VFM, they can kind of still go for a team fight, but you can see that the focus is more towards protecting the cause.
Yeah, speaking of protecting the cause here, prediction-wise, who do you like more?
I'm still leaning towards RRQ. It's not just because they are the stronger team, and it's just how this particular draft kind of pan out. You kind of have the carry second pick. You don't normally see it. Normally carry, you kind of second phase it because she doesn't fall into the priority of ban. But the fact that RRQ pick up the carry and Archive was a big block pick to VFM. But now we're in game number 2 of this best of 3. RRQ, they just need one more to secure the 3 points.
Well, I beg to differ from you here. I feel like VFM has a really strong chance in game number 2. But ladies and gentlemen here, those of you watching at home, this is RRQ going up against VFM on the game 2 here in this second series for the MLBB World Championship M1.
Yeah, I think if VFM can take this away, it's definitely going to be that big upset that a lot of teams might not have seen coming. People were looking at Evos as Evos could be the team that kind of take down RQ, at least take one game more of them and draw bloods from the Kings. But if VFM do so, there's a big statement from possibly a team that no one paid too much attention to, at least in Group A.
Oh, I like what RQ is doing here. They're going for the triple wooden mask. They're going to leave the Badak all by himself up alone here to soak a little bit more XP and go for the pre-4 stages here, trying to get at that level 4 up as quickly as they can before they take the next team fight. They want to shut down this Esmeralda relatively quickly here, and that's exactly what RQ is trying to do. Whereas VFM, they are going to be using their usual play styles here.
Yeah, and I like the respect given from RQ in comparison to the first series against Evos SG, where they were like, hey, we're gonna walk right into you and take you on. RQ for this series at least, they've been playing a bit slow, maybe because of what VFM the uncertainty of what VFM can bring to the table, but at the same time, it's just patience from RQ. Just amazingly good discipline from this team.
Yeah, how long can they be patient? That's going to be the question here. They have the Grok to go for the aggression here, but I can see that they're going to be using the Grok not just as an aggressive open, kind of like an open ward where he's going to be opening up the map here, but I can see that it's mainly used to try and zone or push back any guys from VFM from diving the God from behind, which is exactly what they're trying to do here. I am Jago, he's already have the 4. Is he going to go for the laser beam? Let's see, but as of now, Lucky.
They do find Lucky, but here comes the fantasy for Teeny. Jump straight on the Tuturu, will get the pushback onto him, and here comes Sai. They're going to flicker right in, and Teeny will get the first blood onto Carry. Very well done. Liam goes down as well. That's a double kill for Teeny, and guess what? VFM, they want to go for more. Lolita will get the 3rd one, and VFM with a strong opening onto RQ.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about here. In composition, why RQ is going to have the perfect wombo combo, but the early phase here, let's take a look here. They don't exactly have much to work with here. They were kind of caught off guard here. They overextended coming from RQ to go for the pick, and immediately gets punished from VFM. Look at those mobilities here. Look at I Am Jago. He misses flicker a little bit here, but in terms of mobility, if VFM decides to punish him, they could have killed him if they wanted to.
Yeah, and the worst part for RQ in that particular fight was that I Am Jago, he had the ultimate up, but he was not able to find a good timing to use it because it basically makes the God stand there, and VFM, all their members were piling onto RQ, and this God was just not able to contribute to that fight.
Oh yeah. But it's not over yet here. Now they have the next ultimate here. RQ, they have to play this a little bit more patient here because as of now, they want Sin to come up online here. And once Sin comes online on the Badang, this is where things are going to get a little bit more interesting here. But as of now, VFM, they are not going to be putting up the pressure here. It seems to me, RRQ, they're fighting for opportunity. They might scout out Rowley.
They do see Vin as well. T-Max will be defending that corner of the jungle. And what makes it worse for RQ was that Tuturu was involved in that first fight and also died off. So now you can slow down the carry, which is perfect for VFM.
Tuturu, you know, the gold crab here is going to be up for contestants here. You can see commitments coming from RRQ, but this commitment has a reason for them here. You can see RRQ, they want to stall the gold crab here so they can buy a little bit more time here for Sin to come off online, but slowly but surely, rotations are coming in. They might cut it here. Oh, nice wall there.
He stole it away, and Liam kind of isolated the Hurricane Dash, but again, here comes Teeny for killing spree, and Liam no longer for the wall. Harry will bring it out, and it's Hyde with that 5th kill for VFM, and RRQ collapse.
Nice wall there, seemed like a good start, but RRQ got baited. Here comes the aura, but Brawly, not enough damage. They need more on Sin. It's not over yet as well. RRQ, they will lose Tuturu down below, and VFM, they're back in the game.
Yeah, VFM, you talk about how this team is the aggressive team. They are the aggressors. They like to take fights. Game 1, they took the fight, even though they're on the back foot. Guess what? Now they have the lead. They're going to keep doing this, and they're not going to stop.
Yeah, just based on the draft. That's the power of the Kufra, right? Like you see, RRQ was a little bit afraid here. Most of the times, Kufra was just in your face. They're afraid of those Tyrants' rages, afraid of those Tyrants' revenge as well. And we have not seen a really big play coming from Kufra, from VFM. But RRQ, I'm pretty sure in their minds here, they're very worried about it.
Yeah, and because of two botch fights, RQ now, they are on salvage mode. They need to kind of fall back onto low economy mode just because Tuturu was not able to gain any benefits off of that. Two deaths for this carry. You're relying on this carry to kind of shred through the Kufra, shred through the Lolita, and they're not getting any of those benefits.
Wow, the gods out here pretty much expanded trying to take the turtle buff as well, but unfortunately to say, he was actually secured from Sin from the side of RQ, but now Seven Force committed, Vin as well, going to go for some flicker here, wall charge as well. Liam needs to force the back out, no Hurricane dash, but nice out here from Bada, connects onto, isn't gonna be enough, no follow-up indeed here. RRQ, they had to back off because guards used the ultimate here, but VFM, they're gonna be at a stalemate here, they're gonna try and defend this tier 1 a little bit longer here from the side of RRQ. VFM, Calamity Reaper up on high now, they're gonna focus on this tier 1, but no, the Hurricane dance from Leon takes the Phantom, takes TD away, they get 1 kill despite that, and RRQ, that is gonna be a small reward there.
Yeah, that is gonna sting for VFM, and the idea was correct. Tini wanted to play the zoning game, but kind of ignore Liam, who was there, who was ready with a Hurricane Dance, just pushes him back to that inhibitor. No way for this Lemon to get out. Worst part was VFM didn't get the tier 1 tower, and now RQ able to get the small lead and on the hero with the highest bounty and a streak as well.
Fantastic defense there coming from RRQ. Like, they took that situation pretty well. They took the most minimal damage possible here with the biggest impact, and that's exactly that. And I feel like they've got more than what they actually asked for. But now, can they get even more here? 4K deficit, but now, slowly but surely, this is where they come up online because Tuturu is 0-2-0, but one more good team fight. This is where RRQ will snowball their way back into the equalizer score.
Yeah, and VFM playing that 1-3-1, you have both Tini and Hai going for a split push. They're putting pressure, using that front line on that middle lane simply to keep RRQ occupied. The God is now forced to protect that structure because that tower is so important for RRQ. You don't want this Lemon to run around your jungle, and that is why VFM has so much space to work with. They get that free turtle as well. We might see it engage if VFM finds the chance.
Yep, double main setup here from side VFM. They have the online timing right now, and they need to capitalize on this. And RRQ, surprisingly now, they still pull the map into this middle tier 3. They don't exactly want to give away the map control away, and RRQ perfectly understands that they've got enough time now. 7 minutes has passed. Will they be able to contest this buff here? They need this buff from RRQ. They want to stand a chance to come back here, and seems to me they will get it. Nice done there.
And the second time that RRQ was able to secure that buff, but for the first time RRQ bleeding a bit against VFM, has lost all that tier 1 tower. It's going to be VFM taking more and more control, and this is where it starts to get scary. You have this Kufra and Leomon running together as a duo, constantly trying to invade the jungle. Sin is not going to be in a good place. Uses the bottom out, gets the pushback, but the damage is not there. T-Max does come in to join the fight, but Sin will survive that, and now RRQ gets the wall into Lucky, block him off, but not able to convert that into anything. And now I am Jago a bit isolated to get the core stun, but this is the immobility that you mentioned. VFM will find one, and Sin will be called out as well as Broly will dance on him for that revenge. Badang taken down.
Yeah,
VFM with 2.
Not gonna be able to do anything about this here. Grok here trying to go for the protection haste, but now he's gonna try to open the map a bit here. But where's the fallout? They've lost Sid, they've lost I am Jago. They need Tuturu to come online, and that's gonna be the game plan here coming from RRQ. But will they be enough to buy enough time for the VFM? They're 8-1 score now. They've got 2 crucial kills. They're gonna buy a little bit more time here to start poking under the towers here. Deficit wise here is favoring about what? About an 8,000 deficit now?
Yeah, VFM, they have woken up after game 1. Not a single second in this game 2 that RQ has ever gotten a single goal lead. And VFM now, 8 kills to 1. They've completely shut down Tuturu. Tuturu needs at least 5 more minutes, and I don't think VFM will give him that time. This is where the Lord will respawn, and VFM, they are ready to take on this fight if RQ dares to step forward.
Yeah, VFM right now, they're perfectly understanding that RQ is, hey, this guard, let's just punish him. They don't exactly have anything to do much here. And see, look at this, Lucky, he's getting bursted down, but so what? It is a Kufra, he's super tanky, but Tini popping the Phantom Seed here from the backlines, but they're going to try and dive on the I am Jago once again. Unfortunately, he doesn't catch it, but they're caught out in open. Are they going to go for the commitment here? But Liam going for the flicker as well. Hurricane does, getting forced out, doesn't connect, and here comes the Numinum Blast. Connects on Archive. A lot of spells being committed here, but VFM, they disengage. They're going to focus on the Lord. They know carry carries up on top. Tuturus are not there. VFM, they're gonna focus on the Lord here. RRQ, how are they gonna do this here? But Lord outsmolds and they will get it. Here comes a big ultimate. Is it gonna be enough? Esmeralda will take him down, and VFM, they come up on top.
What a clean fight. The moment I Am Jago finishes that ultimate, VFM, they put the pressure. They were not looking for the kills. They were looking to push RQ back, but RQ now tries to get something in return. T-Max survives that, but guess what? It is now the Broly show. He is way behind, but he will get one for now. It's Sin taking out 2 out of the fight. That's your RQ core completely eliminated, and Broly is not afraid to go for more. Pushing RQ back into the base. The suffocation is real from VFM. And with the lore secured, it seems like VFM, they are looking for their own payback.
This is going to be a tough one. Yeah, like you said, they need the payback. They've got the understanding here, but unfortunately, they were sitting on the sides watching how RRQ playing on the sidelines with that guard pick, and this is where their results are here to show. We are not here to lose. We are here to win it. RRQ, you pull the guard strat, we have an answer, and this might be game, but at the same time, it's not over yet to the Fat Lady Sings. RRQ, they're not in it to win it. How will this go down?
Yeah, and I mentioned about the Leomord pick early on. His decent scaling, that is not easy to shut down. He always has this window to recover, and VFM, they use him to maximum efficiency, and now they're engaging on their first inhibitor with the Lord, and it's just big ultimate coming down from VFM. They will take down the gauntlet straight to the back line. I Am Jago will be able to survive that. Carry will take down that Lolita, but VFM, they're going to continue this pressure for a bit more. Hide on the killing spree. Second inhibitor inside, and they will be able to take down their structure as well. Broly jumping right in straight against Liam needs to desperately protect this place for a kill, but no, mega kill, and look at High going crazy for that wipeout. Triple kill for this Harif, and VFM, they draw blood from RRQ.
VFM right now, they take that win. Retaliation indeed, and RRQ, they lose game number 2. Yeah, but like I said as well, I'm never a big fan of guard bottom strategies. It works out, but if you show that one time, immediately people will have an answer for that, and that's exactly what VFM did. They were sitting with us as well on the sides here. They were watching how RQ played that against Evil's SG, and they came out on top because of that. They planned a new strategy for it, and this is the answer that they answer. But at the same time here, we're evening the score. We're resetting it here in towards a best of 1 series in a sense, where we're heading a bit towards game number 3. Who's gonna come on top for this?
And after game 2, I would say that I am at a loss right now. I'm not sure if it all comes out to the draft, right? 15 kills to 2. This was not even close. VFM, they had the stranglehold onto RQ from the very beginning, and props to the entire team, but especially that Leomord pick. I just felt like this Leomord is a really safe pick, but because of that lead that got early on, you get 3 kills on this Leomord, there was no way that RQ could have stopped him.
Yeah, not to mention as well, Hyde has like 605, the MVP coming from the side of VFM. But before that, let's take a little bit look into what's the highlight here, brought to you by U Mobile. But at the same time, let's take a look at how it all broke down here. Starting fight here, they overcommitted from the side of RRQ, and because of that, they immediately get punished here. You talked about the Leomon, the Phantom Sip coming in. They managed to take a lot of kills here, and because of this, they immediately slowed down the entire aggression, all progressive coming from RRQ. The next play here was here, a huge wall from setup coming from RRQ, but unfortunately they could not burst them down in time because they didn't expect a full 5-man coming from VFM.
Yeah, and it's both the Harif and the Leomon doing all the work. Sure, you can block them all, but they both have mobility. And again, there's so many attempts from RQ, just like Deja Vu from game 1, but this time RQ, they were the victim of a seemingly good setup, but just not able to close it down.
Yeah, but at the same time as well, you know, you see how this fight went out, right? By this stage of the game here, they were like the 10k deficit here. Yeah, RQ, they tried their best to buy enough time for the tier 3s, but unfortunately to say, they could not buy enough time because Esmeralda, you're gonna take a lot of confidence to burst him down. Yes, the Badang is gonna do a lot, but you need the Badang guard combo to catch at least 3 people in the same time to burst him down enough to actually take him down. So great stuff here coming from EFM, because why? They came out on top. They were on the aggressive side. They knew the limits of what RRQ is going to be able to do. So great stuff coming from. Looking forward to see how game 3 is going to go here, because RRQ now, they have to reset their minds. They're no longer in walk in the park. They are here to win as well.
Yeah, series 1 might be easy, but series 2 is VFM with the clapback. They say, EVOS, they are not your concern right now. We are your concern. If VFM takes this series off of RRQ, the group is suddenly wide open once more.
So speaking of which, VFM, you know, we talked about their drafts right early on. You talked about Selena. You talked about Leo. You talked about I talked about the Roger as well. I'm not sure if you're going to be playing it again as well, but I liked how VFM switched up their playstyle from game 1 to game 2. I talked about, hey, they're an aggressive team. Why not play to those aggressive playstyles here? And now, bringing it into game 2, RRQ was definitely caught off surprise. But that's the thing, right? When it comes to drafts here, the God and Badan doesn't come off line as an aggressive pick early on. And because of that, it just opened up like this free window pass for VFM to just say like, hey, let's go in. Let's play on the aggressive role. Let's go. Let's fight. And that's exactly just what happened to them. But game number 3 here, we have the drafts available. And this time, blue side is going to be from the side of VFM and RRQ will be on the red side.
And also, just quickly recap to the game 2, the bans, right? I've talked about how the Kaja ban was smart from RRQ, and I stand by my word. It is a block pick. You deny the Kaja and you secure that Grok for yourself, but opening the Krufa and Esmeralda kind of gave VFM the confidence that they need.
That's pretty much something they have to ban off here, but Xbox here getting first ban coming from our side of RRQ. Pretty standard stuff. Masha as well coming from VFM. I was expecting like RRQ say like, hey, you know what? I don't want to ban a Masha. I want to just let it slide here. I want to pick Masha for myself. But VFM says like, you know what? First ban Masha. Not gonna have it here. Out of pool. Seeing how you play the Evos. Nope. Nope.
Yeah, nope. Just a lot of axes right there. I mean, in RRQ, that Marsha was out of control in that game 1. And Evos was just not able to stop this particular hero. At one point, I think when the game ended, her net worth lead was almost 3,000 ahead of every single hero in that particular game. So VFM,
I think it was 4,000 actually. Yeah, 4,000 ahead of everyone.
That's even more. That's even scarier, right? That's why VFM, Masha ban. Also the Kaja, it's their turn to take out Kaja. We might see either Grok or Kufra go through, but RQ. Now they have to make a really big decision.
Yeah, but when you talked about a Masha pick as well, I think early on, I think when the fight against Esmeralda with Evos Esports SG, that was something I did not expect because he took down Bambi relatively quickly in that fight. Like it was like 3 to 4 hits. The Masha just like, whoa, wait, Masha hits that hard?
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised. Which is why for that particular game, RQ they played that 1-4. Right, Masha was left alone almost the entire game, and RQ, they learned their lesson. They ban out Kufra, but that means Grok is now given away. RQ, they might fall back to the high-lows for Liam.
Yeah, this time, Hylos getting open slider here. RQ is going to take it for himself. We're going to see the revitalized Hylos again. But the Grok is also in the pool. So they understood the power of the Kaja here. Banning the Kaja is fine. Grok is still playable. You saw how, despite RQ picking the Grok here, you saw that the Grok can't exactly do much unless you're playing for an aggressive strategy. But just because of drafts here from game number 2, RQ couldn't play the super hyper-aggressive strat, and one bad team fight in the early stage here just allowed them to be a little bit unable, handicapped in a way. So in this case here, VFM, they're an aggressive team with the Grok. Are they going to push up the aggression this time?
And because of the Grok pick, there's lesser chance for VFM to potentially go for that Baxia, because that is a lot of commitment if you want to go for that particular hero as a direct counter to Hylos, as what Tutru said in that post-game interview. But there's still a chance for VFM if they want to go for that, which I highly don't recommend, simply because of the presence of Grok. They can still go with the Esmeralda, which has shown a lot of success in the previous game.
Yeah, the Esmeralda pick here is great from the side of VFM, but I'm a little bit worried here because this time RQ is not playing a Grok or anything else here. They are playing Archive with a Hylos. Hylos is amazing to actually deal with Esmeralda. Same goes for Lolita as well. The slow just do so much damage, and they don't exactly have enough burst here to actually take down Hylos if you think about it. Like Esmeralda is kind of a burst mage where he does damage over time, right? And Hylos doesn't really care about that here. He's not a type of hero like, hey, if you burst me down, so what? Damage over time, so what? I have a Revitalize, I have the Glorious Pathway, I'm gonna out-heal anyone from the side of RRQ. So seeing how this is going here, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a tough matchup, but I feel like VFM, they have to be very worried about what how Liam and Vin is going to be playing this round, because Liam's clutch Hylos has been on point so far.
Yeah, Liam was one of the big reasons that RQ won game 1 against VFM. But definitely for RQ right now, it is a bit more robust. They're going to quickly lock in that Granger. Last game they banned out Granger because of the Lolita, but this game they were like, fine, we're going to take him regardless, and we're going to bring the fight straight to you.
well, Granger pick here from side of RQ, so we're going to see Tuturu on the Granger pick, despite having the Lolita. Very ballsy pick. But at the same time, he's not that worried just because the Esmeralda is going to be in your face all the time. But I'm worried here from side RQ because right now they have so much damage that they have to dish out from the side of BFM. Like they have the Grok that's super tanky. They have the Esmeralda. She's later on is going to be coming out very super tanky as well. Same goes for the protection coming in from the shield of Lolita. So they need something to burst their way through. And right now, Hylos and Akai isn't exactly the kind of burst heroes that just does a lot of damage. Same goes for Granger, which comes up online at least after the second item comes in, the second core item comes in.
And finally, RQ bans out that Harv. First game, they managed to handle Harv pretty well. Second game, Hai just went absolutely berserk on this particular hero in RQ. They don't want to deal with it anymore. They know that Granger already has a lot to deal with. Esmeralda, Grok, Lolita, you don't want to add Harv to the equation.
Oh, wow.
And they're going to pull out their Hayabusa.
Yeah, I definitely like the Hayabusa pickup here. Instead of the Hellcurt to actually go for the burst, the Hayabusa definitely stands out just because of the Shadow Kill. Kind of just negates whatever Esmeralda is trying to achieve, like stacking up shields, building up the shields here. It completely just ignores that, and you can kind of split push as well. If you think about it here, the only split push potential coming from VFM would be right now would be the Hellcurt and Leomon, and you don't exactly want to contest that against that.
Yeah, and I didn't get to say this previously, but I'm going to say it right now. The Leomon pick, I expected VFM to fall back to a Leomon simply, not just because of the success, but because of, again, how stable he is. He is those neutralizing pick, right? You don't have to worry too much about your matchup. You know, you always have a good time. The Hellcurt, we're finally going to see it. We brought it out after game 1 that Hellcurt was one of VFM's frequently played heroes.
Wow.
They can bring out in this deciding match, and RRQ, they will finally select their Lunox and in an attempt to win the series.
Yeah, I like what the final pick Lunox is. Just if you think about it from side RQ, right? Like they have two invulnerable heroes here. They have the Hayabusa, they have the Brilliance coming from Lunox. They can dodge whatever Esmeralda is trying to build up in terms of the shield there, and it's gonna help over time. I feel like the mind games in this final draft is insane. Who's gonna win here? I don't know, but you saw Hayabusa was like, hey, it's a great one against Esmeralda. Amazing! But let's pick the Hellcurt as well, because why? If you split push, my Hellcurt is going to split push as well. And I feel like, compared to game number 2, this draft is super hard to figure it out. Like, I'm not sure who's going to win. It's going to be like a 50-50 scenario compared to game number 2. I guarantee you, for those of you watching and whoever is us casting as well, this game is going to be crazy.
Yeah, and it's going to be crazy, the 50-50, and what better way for to end this deciding series against VFM and RRQ that probably, like I mentioned, maybe not too many people pay attention to VFM to take down RRQ, who people...
Well, don't jinx it yet. It might happen, it might not happen. Okay?
And this is what makes it interesting.
I know they're pretty sure the fans are going to hate on us with this, but I feel like it's as 50 as you can. I like the draft. It's tough. But ladies and gentlemen here, this is going to be game number 3.
And it's just amazing way to open up the first day, the first group of the very first World Championship. This is the second series, but the hype just keeps on building, and it's down to this point. We've already got our first full series, and lo and behold, RRQ against VFM.
This is tough here. How will they lay this here? I am Jago, going to be on the middle side here. VFM Fantasy. How they play this here? Lucky and also Hyde. They want to make sure Hyde gets those buffs. So pretty 50-50 here coming from VFM, but you can see RRQ, they are going to be setting up Sin to take top buff early on here. They want to make sure that Sin gets that early aggression here. But in terms of mass here, double mass coming from both teams here, pretty standard stuff on the double supports. So nothing too much big rotations yet coming from both teams. But on the bottom side, they're actually leaving Tuturu all by himself from side RRQ, which is kind of surprising, but still not. It's a great pick as well, because if you think about it here, the safe lane is one of the harder lanes to actually play compared to the off lane.
Oh yeah, and Tuturu on the Granger, you always have a way to kind of get out of danger when needed, and you can always clear the waves out pretty easily with that bullet barrage. But RQ, is their turn to kind of start the aggression a bit, and this is what the lineup compared to game 2 is able to achieve. You are able to provide pressure onto VFM as compared to just taking blow after blow from your enemies.
Yeah. And speaking of which here, 0-0 Zin finally hit this 4. Very quick start here for them. Cuts the creep wave, and this is where the aggressive plays here coming from RRQ. They're going to push off the creep waves here just to get play around the XP bar. Like, if you have that lead here, they're going to go for a dive, and Shadow Kill comes in. That's going to be close one as well. Nice flicker coming from TD, and if the Shuriken actually connects, he's going to go down.
What a clutch flicker from T to get away. He was really for it. He knew that Sin's gonna dive on him because he did not have that level 4. No Phantom Seed, but now it's VSM's turn to retaliate. Tuturu does use the flicker away. The tower doing a lot of damage. T-Max trying to survive it. The shield does block out damage. And Finn is here from behind. The right choice is still able to get Broly. Yes, they will. T-Max will go down as well. 2 for RRQ.
Mistakes were made here coming from VFM. Overextension indeed. Nice shield block there. Not giving Tuturu for the kill. He needed that kill for the bounty hunter for the additional goal here. But because of that 2 kills, immediately open things up just beside the turtle pit. And this is where RQ, they're going to contest this turtle pit. VFF and Decimate, he want to dive in. He's saving it. He seals it. What a steal. VFF, he's going to use the turtle bomb. He's going to kill Win. Here comes the Revitalize. They can't kill him off. How will they please? Tuturu with the Death Sonata. Gets the last kill here actually. I am Jungle. Will finish well. Does he have the brilliance? He's trying to switch it off. Can he switch inside? Nice dodge there from I am Jungle. VFF, they're going to reset his fight. Here comes the silence. Here comes the Helga. They're going to take off Liao. It's going to be a 50-51. And like I said, Husky, I guarantee you it's as close as it gets.
Yeah, RRQ, they get the advantage in kills, but they lose the turtle. So VFM pretty happy with that. And they're going to go for Sin. What a block from the Grok. And Sin's trying to do away with those shadows. And Lucky was ready for him for the second time in a row. Sin trying to run away. Can VFM catch up to him? Lucky, he needs one more block. He's going to go for the swing with the totem. And Helga with 5 healers, and they will kill off Lucky as well. Here comes the penalty, and Teeny is ready to dance. Not Hurricane Dance, not enough from Liam. Lucky stays alive.
Oh my god, that was a slight mistake there coming from VFM. If that wall charge actually landed onto the wall, that would have been instant. They would have not dragged it all the way through. But fortunately for them, they did not lose Lucky here from VFM. So that's going to be a consolation win there coming from from VFM. But RQ, they bought a little bit more time, but they will still lose to Sin in that process.
And you can see just amazing play. Teeny, he got the little one, and they're managing to buy time with that Hurricane Dance, but that shot from the Death Sonata not able to finish off the Grok. Put RQ in a really bad spot, and off screen just now they also lost a win to Broly.
Which is kind of unfortunate here, but in terms of economy-wise here, VFF, they're back in action. They've got the economy. This time, they are going to try and pull ahead here. Esmeralda is kind of online as well. Same goes for Helkert as well. You saw how Broly was just dishing out so much damage. He just needed the right job. But Sin is going to keep on the aggression here. He wants to take down this tier 1. And it seems to me, this is going to be the engagement here. Lucky sees a wild horse out of nowhere. Immediately charges his way out of that fight.
And props to Lucky. He predicted where Sin was going to be 2 times in a row. They're going to jump straight onto this Hayabusa, and they would try to find a kill, but Sin, he is the ninja that he is, able to get away now. Here comes Iron Jago on the Lunox, the brilliant straight away. They're gonna isolate this Lucky from the rest of his team. Teeny try to do as much as he can, but Lucky will survive for a bit more longer. Not able to make it out as VFM. They will use this time to snatch the turtle away.
Wow, that was a nice use of a Glorious Pathway coming from Win. I was expecting like, hey, you open the pathway here. What are you doing here? You're kind of blocked from the wall. But you saw how he actually slowed the Lucky there. And because of that slow, it allowed the team here to actually rotate from the behind and just go for the kill there. Nicely done there coming from Win.
A second turtle going over to VFM, but because of what RQ were able to get a kill onto Lucky and that first tower, we are almost back to even in terms of goal. RQ, like you predicted, 50-50. This is what we want to see in Game 3. Everything out the window, especially you have this Lunox Hayabusa lineup for RQ.
Yeah, and at the same time, iJungle right now, he's got 3-0-0 on the Lunox. He cannot afford to die. Same goes for Hyde, who's on 1-0-0 right now on the Esmeralda. VFM, the next team fight here is gonna decide the tempo here. Whether they lose a couple of towers or not. But T-Max right now is all by himself. Where's the teammate? Oh, they do not want to commit here. RRQ. I'm surprised indeed, but at the same time, they want to defend against here. Darkness comes in.
And now it's going to be Broly trying to make something happen. They're fighting under the tower. The Revital is keeping Vin alive, but the stun is there. Vin somehow still survives there, and now they will keep Broly isolated as Tuturu will pick up the scraps. It's 2 for RRQ.
Oh, mistakes there coming from VFN, and because of that, they get a tier 1 down bottom. But Sin, he's gonna buy a little bit more time here. You look at this, he's threading his way through. He doesn't really care. He's buying time for the rest of the teams. However, Hyde, he gets a solo kill down bottom. He takes out Tuturu.
And that is a consolation for VFM. They might go for more. The wall does miss from Lucky, but Tini will still commit onto this, and Liam Hurricane Dash trying to make it out. He does block out the level of another flicker, not able to connect. Here comes the wall charge, and Hylos, the backup is there. Lucky though gets the swing from the totem, kills off the Liam instead.
Oh, what a bait there coming from RRQ, because right now Lucky will pay with his life. If you think about it here, that play there from RRQ was like Kobe Bryant passing the ball, going for the alley-oop dunk. If you think about it, right? Sin was buying time from the side of Lucky as well as Tini. They were wasting like a good solid 1 minute there on top lane, who did not exactly do much here. They couldn't kill off Zin, and they passed the ball all the way to Liam to buy time. And as soon as they passed the ball, yes, he paid with his life, but he forced the Grok into position here. You know what? My Lunox needs a little bit of farm. Iron Jago needs it here. Let's give him another kill. And that's exactly what they did. And the economy here immediately building slightly ahead here from RRQ.
Could have been more for RRQ if not for VFM securing that third turtle in this game. They are recognizing all these opportunities. RRQ, you're busy killing off our cross, you're busy defending your team, we'll take the turtle. Ever since that first steal, VFM has been putting a lot of emphasis on this objective, and that is what's been keeping them on their toes against this formidable nemesis.
Yeah, great like you mentioned the turtle as well. Great salvation from side of VFM as well. If they did not get the turtle here, RRQ would have pulled ahead way far ahead as well. But speaking of which here, now here comes the battle of the tanks here. Grok versus Hylos. Who's going to come up on top? The rock or the horse?
Well, seems like it's going to be none of them for now.
Well, there's another horse here.
Yeah, there's another horse. There's a guy with a horse. One is a centaur, and one is a horse.
I don't know, man. What's going on? But Arrival up top here, trying to stop the tier 1 being breakdown from the side of
Vin. Gotta be really careful if I rejuvenate, but they will blow right through that. The healing not enough. And that is your front line down for RRQ. And VFM, they smell blood. Is Liam isolated? And darkness arrives. Darkness falls. Hellcat turns off the light. They'll get another kill. This time on the archive. That's both your front line down, and Sin now comes in for the salvage. That's the higher booster. I am Jago. Needs to find a way in. But that's the mega kill. 2 through down. And the hammer stun right on top of I am Jago. And this is the time for VFM to shine. The wipe, the ace, and Vietnam will rejoice as they find the first team fight that they need.
What a play. What a play. Let's take a look at the recap here. Apparently Liam, the arrival all the way towards the top to stop Tini, to stop, I think, the Hellcat here from taking down the tier 1 up top. And because of that, he was kind of open. It was like, what was he going to do? What did he need to do? And it was a little bit late here. But as soon as he came down, he immediately got picked off, and it was too late here. RRQ lost that team fight hands down because of the play. They tried to salvage everything, tried to defend against everything, and VFM, they took advantage of the situation.
Yeah, we talk about T-Max and Lucky, but T-Max with that flicker stun, able to catch out Iron Jago, who was the core of RRQ in that particular fight without those front lines, and VFM off of that lead. We talk about how the goalie was even all the time that VFM recovered by taking 3 turtles, but right now they are in a 4K net worth advantage.
Yep, the Lord is going to be available here. RRQ, they have to buy a little bit of time here. Concentrated energy up on towards I am Jago as of now. So he's going to buy a little bit more time here, but Hyder needs to die at least once here from side VFM if they want to equalize the score. But unfortunately, say the Holy Crystal is up on high now.
Yeah, and RRQ, invulnerability might not be the right choice to win this, because Vin, again called out, has to use the glorious path to get away. Another ultimate expended, and this time VFM, they can't afford to not go for the kills. As long as they push RRQ back, they are pretty fine with it.
Trying to buy time here from side RRQ, and you can see VFM, they're trying to blur out the Lord to try and pick this fight here.
Yeah, VFM is just drawing this safe zone for themselves, and RRQ, they're finding a harder and harder to kind of go out from their own base, but Liam with the Hurricane Dance not able to find any sort of opportunities for his team, and for the first time in a long time, VFM managed to split RRQ apart.
How are they going to do this? VFM, they're cutting the back lines. They're starting on the Lord here. The
Lord is there.
Halfway through.
RRQ, they want to attempt to contest this, but VFM, they're going to pull off the Lord straight away, and they will finish off Hylos before anything else, and that will force an immediate retreat from RRQ. But RRQ, they desperately need to get this Lord, and here comes Hellcat again. He switches off the light, and VFM want to go for more. It's Brawly. Sin with a great sidestep has to go into invulnerability, but Lolita zones out the rest of RRQ, and Monster Kill will be taken away by VFM, and this should be Lord secured.
Oh, nicely done there from side of VFM. Discipline plays. They know. You saw how Vin was kind of knocked out, right? You saw Sin hiding in the bush. RRQ trying to snipe the Lord. VFM, they intentionally reset the Lord, going for the chase, force RRQ back, and that's exactly where they put them in a position where, hey, we can take your fight. We don't care about if you try to steal with us here. They expecting the steal, but not gonna happen. Sin denies it, goes in for the kill, takes 2 guys. Now, free Lord for VFM.
And game 1 just feels like a fluke right now from VFM because game 2 was convincing. Game 3 looking to go down the very exact direction. Hylos from the side of RQ been laying out those glorious paths, those red carpet that should have been the path to victory, but VFM just used it as their own spotlight.
Nicely done here, but as of now, it's gonna be best. Either team is going to be taking 2-1 here, but VFM is very close to it. The Lord is going to be closing up this tier 3 RRQ, going to be cleaning in this house very, very easily here. And however, VFM is going to think about cleaning out all the outer turrets here in this red side.
And here comes the stranglehold, the strangulation from VFM. You keep RRQ boxed in inside that base, and there's only so much that this Indonesian squad can do. Sin not able to get anything much. I am Jago now. He has the entire weight of the team on his shoulder to be the guy that deals damage, to be the guy that carries this team. But VFM, they're gonna go for the 3-2 and start the siege on this inhibitor.
Yep, speaking of which, VFM, how are they going to set this up here? RRQ, they're going to be on the defense here. They are 8k behind VFM. They have to drag like a good solid 3 to 4 minutes here to make it towards the fatigue stage of the game. And this is where RQ will have a really, really strong chance to come back to this game. Divine Glaze up on Ryan Jago now. This is where he's going to start hitting like a truck. Glorious Pathway getting used.
Then again, uses Glorious trying to get away, but T-Max again with another zone. Broly just going to dash right in with the Esmeralda, but he gets picked off by the Archive. Great Hurricane Dance from RQ, and this might be the fight that they need. They're going to start collapsing on top of VFM. High goes down, the shutdown for Hayabusa, and it's a 4 for the 3, but lucky for the war chest finds the ninja. Sin though, not going to be afraid right now because VFM is on full retreat mode, and Sin getting the right timing. He bounces around, immortality for Lucky, and Teeny is trying to run away. Tuturu going on the chase, Lucky will make it out. T-Max probably will survive there as well, but Teeny is in a bad spot. Use the Phantom Steed to charge to safety. RRQ, they'll defend it for 1, but Liam has something else to say, and they will find a Leomon, and RRQ wants to go for more. Is Lucky surviving that one last right click, one last auto attack from I Am Jago.
Well, the turning point, the Divine Glaives on I Am Jago, they burst down the tanks, they burst down everything. They committed so much for the high loss there, and now they are equalizing the score. RRQ pushes back. What a game indeed. VFM, they definitely underestimated that fight here. You saw how they committed so much into spin, could not take him down, but when they did, they overextended their stay here. They took down TD. They lost Brawly and hide right off the bat from side VFM, and RRQ snowballed their way through. Yep. Nicely done.
High step. Kind of lost them that fight. He went in too far in, and Liam pushes him back with a Hurricane Dance, but BFM, they immediately want to strike back. They don't want to let RQ catch a break, but T-Max reload. Lucky in the front, like tank out most of the damage. Glorious Path is out from Vin. RQ, now again, it's that time. They see the chance, and Lucky, not so lucky after all in this, and it's Broly. He's trying to do the best he can. They find a kill on the Lunox. I Am Jago is down, and VFM, now it's that time. It's the window for them to go for the win, but can they do so? Because RQ is holding on. It's 3 for RQ. It might be 4. Because VFM, they are running out of gas, they're running out of time, they're running out of life. Teeny with the large dish. Immortality will give him a second chance. The Glorious Path is dead, but Teeny will not stand. RRQ against all. They will not go quietly into this series, and they push back. Now they look for the win.
What a comeback indeed. RRQ, the equalizer score. They dragged it long enough here, and won a clutch as well. You saw I Am Jago just poking his way through. VFM, they were trying to bait the brilliance for I Am Jago. They held it to the bait here. They lost the Grok, and now the Crystal is going to be exposed here. RRQ, what a game. Here comes the wall charge win. He survives. How is the Hylos not dead? Why is this horse not dead? That is a true Death Knight. The horseman of Death, man.
And VFM, they have one last chance. They blew 2 opportunities to secure themselves the win, to get that upset onto RRQ. But RRQ, we know that they are fighters. They did not stop, and 2 fights in a row has led to this scenario where they are the one who got the first inhibitor. They are the one who's getting control over the lore, and VFM, if they lose one more, it could be the end of this series at least.
The game is not over yet to the Fat Lady Sings, like I said as well. Now, this is the crucial moment here because why? Sin on the Hayabusa finally getting that malefic roll here, and this is where VFM RRQ is going to decide here. It might be the last Lord fight, it might be the last team fight here, and whoever wins and comes up on top is going to decide the entire gameplay here.
T-Max has been the man of the hour, the man of the team at least, and he needs to do as much as he can. They immediately dive onto I Am Jago, Lunox down. That is a 4v5, and also they found the Hayabusa. Is this it? Is this Vietnam's time to shine? As Turu desperately tries to get away, but Tini is going to go on to his stomp on him. One last auto attack. Turu managing to flicker away. Got to get to safety for now, but the wall block onto Vin. They don't have the damage output just yet, but VFM, at least they store RRQ. At least they can go for this Lord. The third Lord for this Vietnam team.
Oh no, this is going to be bad here for RRQ. Sin is going to be responding very shortly here. Same goes for I Am Jago, but the Lord very quickly taken down here from side of VFM and RRQ. They have to buy time. Liam is trying his best. Wall charge comes in. Here comes the silence. Hurricane dies as well. He's going to be fine, but can he buy enough time here? They need to defend against Laws here. Queen's Wing up on layup. A little bit more tankiness, but is it going to be enough? They need to clear out these creep waves here. Lord going to be exposed here, but fortunately for RRQ, the two tier 3s up on EVFM from the top side and the middle side is kind of exposed right now. So the creep is going to be slightly slow, but I don't think it's going to be a huge difference into the creep pushing stages.
Yeah, VFM, even when they're behind, they will take the fight, and it seems like the lights are turned off. Broly goes to the back line, but the focus on Liam. He's buying so much time, and Broly gets caught by the depth Sonata. He is down.
Wow, my oh my, that's the kill that they needed here, and because they took down Brawley, this is the opportunity for them to defend against this here. RRQ, Glorious Pathway, they want to rotate down quickly as they can here. They don't want the Minotaur to lose fast. Take down the Lord quickly here. They're outside, they're going to get open. Here comes the Esmeralda!
They're going to go for the fight. VFM, they say 4v5, we will take it anyways. And it's in, trying to make the magic happen. RRQ managing to hold up great.
Oh!
Into the stun. Is this VFM time to shine? But guess what? Liam is there, and he says, you are not touching my team. Lucky has to flicker away high. Just look for the backline of RRQ. He wants to go for the core, but no kills for RRQ at all. And it's VFM. Full retreat. They try to go for a split push, but no inhibitors were taken down in that process. And RRQ, they hold on for the 4th time in a row.
Oh, Shadow Q up towards Hyde as well. He has the damage output. He has the magic free roll, but no, he doesn't care. He comes up on top. Oh no, mistakes were made from Zin. Now, here comes the random Zin. Vin is going to go all out. They want to try and fight this fight. The Esmeralda is lost. Glorious Malvin coming out alive. Revitalize not dead, but Vin is not dead. He's got the immortal. He's not dead as well. They take down the Leomon, but he's not dead. But Broly from behind, they take down Tuturu. Oh my god, VFM, they're doing it.
VFM, they just do not care. They can fight with one less member. It doesn't matter because they know their priority. Big mistake from Sin. He thought he had Hyde in his sights, but 1-3 Hayabusa against a 9-2 Esmeralda. That bloodlust was just way too much for RQ to handle.
Oh my god, he overestimated his power here. He had the Malefic roll. Actually, unfortunately, he actually sold it off. I'm not too sure why, but it seems to me Sin is going to be selling off his, switching up his item a little bit more here. We did see a Malefic roll early on, and right now, RQ might be at a deficit here, right here. Oh, he's going to switch up his item here to get a little bit, the rose gold meteor here, just to be a little bit tanky now.
And VFM, they have been choking on RQ. RQ got a bit of breather a few minutes ago, managing to breathe the fresh air outside, but now they're back to the same confinement that VFM has specially set up for them. Now RQ, can they break free of this cage once more?
Well, in this case here, Tuturu is going to be switching up here. He's going to be the one to take the Malefic Rock instead of Sin now. No more split pushers here. The job is pretty much done. Top and middle tower from the side of VFM is pretty much done. But now another engagement comes in. RRQ, how are they going to defend against this?
Longest game we had so far, 20 minutes. About to be 21. VFM, we've talked about how aggressive they are. At one point, it seemed like they had this in the back, but RQ, they are not going to bow down as the favorites.
Yep, it's not going to be happening yet there, but Courage must outrun with a little bit more mobility to work with here, especially to get out of the sticky situation, especially in the name of height. Same goes for Broly as well with those silence here. Power potion up on Tiny now.
It's going to be Liam, a bit isolated from his team, but he should be able to leap away. No problem right there for RRQ. The defense for this particular lineup is strong enough to hold on against VFM, but VFM, we're gonna get this tug of war, this push and pull continuously until someone gets picked up, and Vin will be the target for T-Max.
This is tough here because why power potions up on Broly as well. RRQ, they need those the potions up as well from their end if they want to win the next engagements. They have to play this a little bit slow. RRQ, but can they buy a little bit longer time here? Dominance Eyes is up on I Am Jago here to try and defend against this aggression, this physical burst coming from Helker and also the Leomon. But the Lord, 50% now.
This might be the last fight, and again, VFM, they pull away from a lot. They go for the reset because they want the kill. They find I Am Jago. He's isolated. I Am Jago needs to get out. The block makes sure I Am Jago can't get away. He's forced into the breeze, but he can't get out. And everyone from VFM will pile on Team I Am Jago. Still survives from now. Gets the shield, and now it might be a chance to do the damage. But the Great Lolita ultimate just blocking him off. And now the Great Wall from Lucky and VFM. They're gonna start doing the damage. And here comes Broly. Keep your eyes on this Helker. Not able to get in. Vin is going to soak out as much damage as he can, and RRQ might go for re-engage. Another Great Wall coming out from RRQ, but VFM, they're running out of gas, and RRQ might want to get this over with.
Oh, it's not over yet here. They're trying to do defense here because RRQ, they're pushing back. VFM, they have to back out. They've committed so much. Grok, what can you do? Here comes the Hurricane Dance. Liam Casino, and the two-man stun. Oh, it's not over. I Am Jago. They want to take out Lucky. Nice block there from T-Max. They're not happy. Come on, get that kill. I Am Jago. They're doing it. RRQ, they get 3. They want to close this game. What a game. What a play. Liam, what a Akai.
And RRQ will stand strong. You can't draw blood, but you can't take them down. And yet they can get the finishing touch at the crystal. Now it's exposed, and RRQ, they don't need the minion wave. They do not care. It is the objective that they're going for. Teeny is the only one staying alive, but RRQ, a bit more finishing touches will close out the series. An amazing comeback for the Indonesian squad.
What a play, what a play. RRQ, the Kings of Kings, defending their title here. 2-1. What a crazy game. What a clutch from Super Long and they stage here, but they understood their timings perfectly well. The turning point for the game here, it felt like it was I Am Jago. At the moment he got the Divine Glaive here, they took down the Grok, and we all know that Grok scales really bad into his ultra late game here. You saw he could not do much. The damage, the tankiness was what? Nothing. Nothing.
He got a few great walls, but there was just those little gaps in between, not good enough. And you can see just now on the cams, on VFM especially, they knew they had it. They knew they had that game, but one mistake and slipped away. RQ, they stay strong. We'll take a look at the stats of that previous game. It was insane. I thought VFM had this. I thought we were going to see an upset, but RRQ, they are not willing to let that happen.
Yeah, that was a crazy game indeed here. And I liked how RRQ made the switch as well. Early on, we had Sin getting the Malefic Raw early on, and they knew like, hey, Sin, you can't do a lot of damage here. We need those armor reduction. He sold it off. He switched for a Rose Gold Meteor. Tuturu was the one that got the Malefic Raw, but the turning point here was those penetration items coming from RRQ. I Am Jago was the first turning point where he first got the Divine Glaive, and that is when they took down Lucky really quickly here from side VFM after the Grok paid off, and that's where everything went south. So let's take a little recap here to try and let you know, guys, what I was trying to tell you here. But starting off here, VFM, they had a great start. They managed to punish, overrun the guys from RRQ.
Yeah, RRQ having that lead, but you can see this is where VFM starts to strike back. This is the point where VFM getting all those leads. They get the kill on the scene. Teeny was on the roll, same as Broly as well. Actually, all the 3 cores high at the Esmeralda, the Leomor, the Helken. This really great play from Lucky, able to survive for a bit longer. Even though he died here, you can see VFM, they secured the turtle time and time again. And this is what T-Max was playing most. They was playing the game. They was playing the game in such an amazing way.
Yeah, it was insane here. But as the game progressed as well, you saw VFM, they were struggling a bit here. RQ had a little bit of advantage with the Hylos pick here. But ever since they won the first Lord fight here, this was the turning point here. They got the kill on this Vin, right? You can see that Sin was on the bush here, trying to go for the Lord snipe. They intentionally resetted it here, tried to go in for the fight, and as soon as they can put RQ in this position here, they instantly go for the kill. And Sin overcome it here, but the Numinum Blast from T-Max was insane. Pushed 3 guys from the back, immediately killing starting off Sin as well, and this is where they bought a lot of time here for the Lord to come up online. And yeah, this fight right here was the one here. As soon as I Am Jago, I think it was I Am Jago who had the Divine Glaives here, they took down the Grog, and this was a full retreat here because why? They committed fully from the Hellcat as well as Esmeralda, and because of that, they capitalized on this, and they were able to come back because of this overextension coming from VFM.
Yeah, you can see Broly, he went in, he want to go for a backline. The idea was great, but the execution wasn't as perfect because they were near the inhibitor. This time Liam was ready, waited for the Hellcat to show up, went for the Hurricane Dance, pushed him back, killed him off. Esmeralda now forced to fully commit, and RQ, from this point onwards, this was the turning point that RQ started to kind of crawl back into the game. But of course, one of the most crucial moments of that final fight that we're going to see later on in this highlight was that, I say, keep our eyes on Broly. Broly was not able to get in the fight at all because of how RQ positioned themselves with Helios in the front line.
Yeah, and not to mention as well, they were struggling to get those kind of kills anymore here. But this seemed to be a really clutch play here coming from VFM. But unfortunately, the one that they caught was actually Liam, and Liam as well as Vin there. And the Revitalizers kept them obey, they counter-engaged, and they won that fight here. And as soon as they progressed into this final fight here, you saw they were struggling here. Esmeralda tried to go for the fight. Vin was catching it. Liam was kind of like Hurricane Dance pinning onto his Esmeralda, rendered him kind of a little bit unable to do much to do in honesty in that team fight.
And this is the final fight. I Am Jago, clutch brilliance, he survived that. And lucky, a lot of walls, he's been blocking out RQ for majority of the fight, but because I Am Jago had the flicker, he got out. T-Max with the ultimate, gets the zoning out, and you can see how RQ positioned. Their cores were never dealing damage. They just need Vayne to soak up as much as they can, and the moment Broly's ultimate ran out, RQ said, it's time to strike. We've worn down Lucky, we've worn down High, it is time to fight back, and this is where the re-engage. Perfect disciplines. This is a patience we talk about RQ that we did not expect to see today, and they demonstrated it in the best way possible.
Yeah, the understanding they have, and this clutch stun here coming from Liam was the thing, like, immediately that was the nail to the coffin coming from RQ, and VFM, they had no answer to that. But what a game in there. The understanding, yeah, you talk about the discipline as well, the reset, the I Am Jago as well. He was caught out. They forced 4 guys from the side of VFM, right, in that fight. Hey, let's go for the brilliance. Oh no, I'm stuck, I'm gonna die. Flickers, gets baited, gets caught out in the choke point. They take the win. What a game indeed coming from RQ. The understandings, the communication, and the trust between teammates was phenomenal.
Yeah, and when you talk about VFM, yes, Graf, they take fights again and again, and a lot of times, especially in Game 3, most of the times they want it out. But the problem is, when you have that adrenaline, you want to go for more. When you committed the effect, you committed, and you want to go for more and more, but we have an interview with the winner, so we're going to throw it to the host right now.
Casters, and we are back here again for our post-interview for series number 2. My name is Manjin Faldas from the Philippines, and I am with the marksman of RRQ, Mr. Totoro. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you. And you?
I think you guys are coming in strong in this tournament, having 5 points already, and probably will secure the upper bracket. But game number 1, you clearly dominated the series, and game number 3 was a slobber knocker. Why did you think that you guys lose game number 2?
We got quite surprised about their pick. It's like Esmeralda and Harry is quite surprised because they're gonna play super early, so and our draft is super late, so we just got a little bit surprised about the draft there. So basically, we lost the draft lah.
Yeah, so clearly it was because of the draft and the surprise pick coming in from VFM. But of course, I can feel all of the pressure coming into your team right now. What did you guys do in order for you to prepare in this M1?
Our prepare is like keep it chill. Yeah, but mostly my teammate is like about, I know the mental is not strong enough. Like I try to bring the motion, like if the flow is, try to enjoy the game.
Try to enjoy the game, and of course be chill but composed. But of course, sir, do you have any shout outs to your family and friends back in Indonesia?
From Indonesia, you know, like, we are from RK, we are from Indonesia. Please keep supporting us. You know our logo, like FIFA RQ. Yes.
Fight All right, fight RRQ. That is Totoro, the marksman of their team. And let's now throw it back to the shoutcasters. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Manjin here. And of course, like Totoro said as well, they were definitely caught off surprise in game number 2 here as well. The Gord pick here was ultra late. Same goes for the Badang. But as soon as the Harif and Esperanza came in here, they just ran rampant. They just caught them out for a surprise. But game 3 was the one that really caught my eye the most, honestly, Husky.
Yeah, the Snobber Knocker, the Slugfest, or however you call it, it was definitely an absolute bloodbath. The 50-50 that you foresaw, that I agreed on, and especially Tururu, he also did mention a slightly interesting point that he tries to be the pillar for his team, keeping their morale up, and I think that is really important, especially in a heated game like Game 3, where it felt like because of that pillar of support, VFM were the one who got knocked down, as psychologically at least.
Yeah, at least here. But as of now here, we're going to be taking a short break here before we head into the next series here. But as of now, this is the Mobile Legends Bang Bang World Championship M1. My name is ICBaby12, and that is Husky. See you guys in a bit.
They told us that it's just a game. That nothing will ever come out of it. That it won't bring us fame or glory. That it won't make our country proud. They told us to stop wasting our time. Well, let them say all they want. We'll prove it to them. We'll be the champions. Mobile Legends Bang Bang World Championship 2019. M1.
You may have been denied. You may have hit rock bottom. You may have been craving for the lights. Now, all strive for one goal.
Taking that life of the Akaya square, there comes the jump on the Emerald.
Put your hands together for the champion.
Do you have what it takes to be a champion worthy of the highest glory?
I tried to call, would you cry? Please don't cry, you're wasting